Welcome back to GDQ Hotfix. I'm Author Blues, and we are here with Pac-Man 40th Anniversary. This is the 40th anniversary of the original Pac-Man games, and so we decided that we were going to put together a show with some selections of games from the series, starting with Pac-Man Arrangement. By the end of the show, we'll have seen Pac-Man World, Pac-Man World 2, before finally wrapping up with Pac-Man World Rally All Tracks and Pac-and-Roll Remix. Before we actually jump directly into the game, before we throw it over to Joester with this awesome run, I do want to plug just a few things. Wanted to remind everyone that we do have a new show premiering tomorrow. We have Tina's RPG show, I guess. That's the name of it. I'm not confused about what the show is, but the show is called Tina's RPG show, I guess. That'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be seeing Final Fantasy IV with Brosentia. If there are any questions about SGDQ dates coming up, you can check GamesDoneQuick.com for more information on that. Check that for all the information coming out about SGDQ dates, rescheduling, games list coming out, things like that. And we do have a community spotlight on Monday at 7 p.m. with Final Fantasy Tactics. And so with that, let's throw it over to Joester. Joester, how you doing?
I am doing pretty good, Oth. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Really excited to see some cool Pac-Man games. Excited to see some of the Pac-Man World. I think that's what originally motivated this, but we definitely wanted to get some of the arcade homages in. So,
yeah. So this is originally an arcade game. I see a lot of people pointing out that they love this GBA game. I'm playing the GBA version just because that's the version that everyone has run, and I did run this at the last AGDQ. But if you missed it, hopefully this run will be even better. This game goes extremely quickly, and so don't blink because you don't want to miss anything. And I've got Nacho Brado here helping me on commentary. He's another runner of this game, so he's gonna help me kind of explain what the heck is going on here. So,
hello.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a world record. It won't be, but we'll try.
Calling it.
We'll do our best. So if we're ready to go, I think I'm ready to go.
Yeah, give me one moment, and I think we're ready. You can count me in, and...
All right, let's go. Started. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, here we go. So... Every map in this run, I'm going to be taking a very specific path. It's not. If I'm improvising, that means I screwed up, which is likely to happen at least once. So if you see me like what looks like scrambling around, that's really bad. But every level has a specific route. Some levels have these boosts called dash pads. So if you go on those, you get a burst of speed. And you can also stun ghosts while you have that burst. These levels are generally the harder ones because you have to take the boosts around a bunch of tight corners. This level is where we get into the real cool stuff with this game. So this game has power-ups. Power-up color is determined by the color of the last ghost you eat. So this blue power-up gives me 2 Pac-Man. So now I can do the left and right half of the maze at the same time. And I'm going to get this on pretty much every level. So at the start of most levels, I take a very specific path to a power pellet and then eat the ghosts in a very specific order. And that gives me a second Pac-Man.
What are some of the other power-ups?
So the red power-up actually increases your speed by a bunch, which is pretty good, but it's not as good as being able to clear out both halves of the maze at once. There's an orange power-up, which makes it so when you eat dots, you don't slow down at all. And then there's the pink power-up, which puts all of the ghosts back into the middle for 5 seconds. And then there's the yellow power-up, which gives you 100 points. Extremely useful. But I really want the blue one, so I'm just going to try and get that in every level. And some good things about like the clone or the mirror image is that the ghosts actually think that is you, and so they'll attack that instead of you, and so they just stay out of your way for the most part, which is extremely convenient because you can kind of just do whatever then. So here you saw there was like 2 ghosts combining. So there was a ghost in this game called Kinky. That's the ghost with the glasses. And Kinky acts as a power pellet, and he also can combine with the other ghosts to make them more powerful, and they do different things. It actually kind of indicates how their power-ups work. Hopefully we don't see a lot of that killing me. This is the first level that's actually like fairly challenging, so I got a very bad pattern. And so I got a bad pattern, so I got the wrong power up here, so now I have to just wing it. So expect me to die. Alright, I'm just gonna bait that guy out of the way. Okay. I think I should be okay, because I can just loop around here. There we go. Not bad. Alright. Now back to not screwing up. Something you'll also see is some levels have, like a level like this has dots that get bigger. The bigger dots actually slow you down more. It might be kind of hard to see, but it's definitely noticeable. Like when you're playing, you can feel yourself just dragging when you're eating the really big dots. And this is the last level that I'm not going to be getting the power up in, just because we have no good strategy to consistently get it. There is a strategy. It is terrible, and I actually forget it because it's so terrible. I just have completely wiped it from my memory because I just want to pretend it doesn't exist.
It's nearly frame perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got there's like it has multiple frame perfect turns, but it's not like turning on like the first possible frame. You can buffer your turns in this game, which you do everywhere. So that's why it looks like the cornering is super smooth, because you actually press the turn before you get to the corner. But for the strategy on that level to work, you have to turn at very specific times for multiple corners, so good luck. So now that I'm in like the second half of the game, I only need to eat 2 ghosts to get the power up to spawn instead of 4, so I can get the power up more quickly, which is really convenient.
It's an interesting change.
Yeah. This is one of the trickier levels because it's really open. There's just a lot of space, but that went pretty well. Yeah, this is a level that's pretty easy to die on just because there's a lot of annoyingly bad patterns you can get, like that one. And I should be fine.
Plus, on stages like these, on the stairs, you can't actually turn around. You have to like go up the entire stairs, then turn around.
Yes. You also, if you take a corner down a set of stairs too tightly, the mirror image actually doesn't eat the dot that's at the top of the stairs, and that's really bad because that makes you turn around. And the clone only lasts for a certain amount of time, and so if you turn around, you're just losing time with the clone, and that means that you might not clear out the entire other side, because some of the level routes have pretty tight timing on stuff that you're clearing out. All right. So this is a really cool level because it's got like 1,000 corners. And the next level is probably the coolest if I get it correct, which means I will horribly butcher it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Here we go.
So how scripted is this? Like, do the ghosts always do the same?
Yeah, it's 100% scripted.
Really interesting.
But like you're... Alright, well I panicked and I got the route 100% perfect, so... Yeah, so, but like I said, like I was mentioning with that other level with the route that's weird, is if you take a corner like a frame differently, the ghosts will do something completely different. So if you play the game enough, you can recognize, like the most common, like 4 patterns, based on how you take specific corners, which really only matter for like, it matters for like the first like 3 seconds of the level while you're getting the power up. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty scripted, and then based on a couple subtle differences, you can adjust accordingly. Right, this level's pretty tight to get the power up at the start here. Okay, good. So this is the last world, actually. This game goes by really quickly. The music here is super quiet, just because it's really compressed. Because it's a Game Boy game, and not on the original arcade board. All right, this is the last stage with boosts. So say goodbye to the boosts. There we go.
The way that you manage those turns with the boosts is actually really interesting. But you're saying you can buffer the input, so it's a little easier maybe than it looks.
Yeah, for some of the boosts it's a little easier, but a lot of the boosts you're taking them past like 3 different paths, and then you have to turn down a specific one. So you can't buffer it in that situation. You just have to time the press. Otherwise, you'll turn too early or too late, or you'll bonk. You can bonk with the boost as well. So it did just go right through that ghost, but that's because you get invincibility when you take a jump pad there. Okay, so this map I want, see Kinky there, I'm gonna pretty much need to use him as a power pellet or I will probably die. I'm probably gonna die here, yeah. Sorry, it's first death, that's not bad. I'm almost done anyway, so I can just go up here and finish because all the ghosts are on the bottom.
Oh, all the pellets stay eaten. That's really nice.
Yeah, one of the ghosts, when he merges with the Kinky there, he actually puts dots back on the map, and it's really annoying. So this is the final boss. We're already here. Again, I'm taking a super specific path here because these clumps of ghosts, if they spread out, you just die over and over and over and over again. So I take this, what looks to be weird and convoluted path, but it keeps those ghosts clumped together. And it also gets me back to the center of the stage to eat the power pellet that explodes the groups of ghosts. And it ends right at the end, like that. Now I have to clear the map again, except this time the huge machine comes after me and it's really angry. And at the very end, it's going to get very, very angry, and I'm going to say there's about a 99% chance it will kill me. After I eat all of these dots, there'll be one final dot that spawns, and it can spawn anywhere on the map. So if you get here on a really good run and it spawns way away from you, you just your run's over. Alright, so now here's the part where he kills me because he's really angry. Alright, so I'm gonna have to adjust my movement here based on this bounce pattern. Alright, where's the dot? Where's the dot? Okay, so it's over here, so now I gotta go get it. Alright, so that's pretty good. I only died one time. Time is coming up when I leave the ground. Time. That's probably pretty close to 10 minutes.
Yeah, 9:52.
Ooh, sub 10. That's what I'm talking about. Sub 10 is really hard in this game. Record is 9:31. Sub 9:30 is possible, but getting a sub 10 is pretty tough. I think the run I got at GDQ, I think was like a 10:07 or something. So I'll take a sub 10. I think I died once, and I think I screwed up one level. So that's pretty. I'd say it's pretty on par for a marathon there. I'll take it.
Yeah, great run.
Very nice.
The game looks really satisfying to play. I mean,
it's so, especially with the cornering, it's so good. It just once you get the feel down for how the game works, it just flows super naturally, and it feels amazing. If anyone wants to learn this game, there actually is there's both a YouTube playlist with all of the correct paths for each of the levels, and there's also an image album with the correct path drawn out on it. So a lot of resources if you want to learn this game. And there's a Pac-Man server that I'm sure everyone will be plugging after every run. But if you're interested in this game or any of the other games, definitely join there. There's a link on speedrun.com somewhere. So if you like this game, go check it out and stick around for some more Pac-Man and me, because I'm up next again.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a moment with more Pac-Man with Pac-Man World 1. Welcome back, everybody, to the Pac-Man 40th anniversary showcase. We're here with Pac-Man World Any Percent with Joester again. You're already pretty familiar with him, but we're now joined by Abif and ProtoKid on commentary. I do want to mention before we jump into this run that Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your bits and subscriptions, so please consider subscribing to support future broadcasts like this one if you're enjoying the show. And don't forget that if you have Amazon Prime, you can link your Twitch account to subscribe for free. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to you.
All right. Hope you guys didn't miss me in the last 5 minutes. I'm back again with some more Pac-Man. This game won't be as short as Arrangement, but the movement will be, I think, even more ridiculous and absurd. I'm intentionally not showing it off here to save it. I've got Abif here with me for commentary. He's the first person to ever do a run of this game. And then I have Proto Kid.
I was going to say that.
And then I have Proto Kid here, who is also another runner of this game. I think is either in like second or third in this category.
Second.
There you go.
So Josie's out here stealing your thunder, Abby.
Yeah. I'm known to do that. But yeah, if we're ready, I'm gonna get going with the
you count me in and we'll get it going.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's go in 3, 2, 1. Video games. All right, so Pac-Man in this game steals moves from other characters. So he steals this move from Sonic, and he steals this move from Crash Bandicoot, where you shake back and forth. This is called zigzagging.
Totally intentional.
When you alternate diagonals in this game, Pac-Man goes faster because he moves faster in diagonals. So if you alternate the diagonals, you have diagonal movement speed and you go in a straight line. The faster you alternate them, the faster you go. So I'm going to be... there's no controller cam for this, but just imagine someone is like assaulting a controller, and that's exactly what's happening here. So this first level is pretty. It's basically just a tutorial level. It basically just shows you the ropes of the game, all the kind of gimmicks and stuff they're going to throw at you. Or at least most of them.
You normally not jump across those elevator gaps in runs, or is that just a marathon safe strat?
Well, I haven't played this seriously since like February of 2018. So we should probably not be doing the super dumb strats.
I don't know. I like barely ever mess it up, even when I'm just like popping in the game for fun. Then again, I'm also a god gamer, so.
Does it break my controller? No. Does it hurt my hand? Yes.
It sounds through your microphone like you're breaking your controller.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the benefit of having the terrible microphone is you can just hear the controller crying out in pain.
That is some beautiful sound.
I've burned through one of my controllers, so it actually did hurt mine.
Yeah, so in this level, I'm actually going to be collecting items, which you don't actually need to beat the game, but the items in this game are really broken.
Let's talk about how this was found. All right, so Rob, who is the second person who ever did runs of this game after me, he was working on, I think it was a tutorials, right? And I think he was doing like a video showcasing where all the letters are for like 100%. And he decided to just exit out of the bonus game once he was done. And when he went into the next level to start recording the IL or the tutorial for that level, something very interesting happened. So we'll be seeing that shortly.
Yeah, so I've gotten all the Pac-Man letters. Every level in the game has those, except for the first one. And yeah, getting them, as Beef said, lets you get to a bonus round.
Oh yeah, and it gives you a bonus round.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy Liquid Squid. He's in the chat right now. He's a good man.
Liquid Squid in the chat.
All right, so
crazy guy.
So I picked up a key in this level also. Keys are very important. They are how you beat the game. If you don't get them, you cannot beat the game. So I'm going to exit level from this bonus round because doing bonus rounds is slow. But what this does actually is the game does not erase the flag for being in a bonus round. So if I go into another level, now it thinks I'm in this level's bonus round. And if I die, it thinks I died in this level's bonus round. And if you died in the bonus round for a level, you must have already beaten the level. So that just instantly marks the level as beaten.
Normally when you die in a bonus round, it takes you to the end of level save screen. And because it never deletes that flag that says you've left the bonus round because you exit it, and it's just not something they, I guess, expected anyone to do. Yeah, that skips a level. And when Rob first found that, he was like, hello? How did I skip a level? It was pretty funny. I remember him telling us about it. And our first instinct was to just run into this level where he said it happened and jump in this pit over and over until something happened. But he then realized that after going back and looking at his footage, that it was from the bonus round. So really, really cool skip that was found by complete accident.
Yeah, and it's really useful because I'll actually use it I'll use it 4 times in this to skip 4 levels, and which saves.
And that's
a lot
not
of
even
time.
all the levels we're skipping.
Yeah.
There's straight up levels you don't even have to do. So
Yeah,
let's talk about how you beat this game. You
Yes.
don't actually need to beat any levels, technically.
Well, in
Theoretically.
the game's code, it doesn't. There's no check for you have to have beaten every level to beat the game. You're supposed to have to do that because they put up obstacles to make sure that you couldn't just skip levels.
Oh, right, yeah, we don't.
Obstacles. Pretend there's an air quotation around that.
Obstacles in quotes. Yeah, no, we can just the only flag the game sets to check whether or not you can enter the final boss is if you've unlocked or saved all 6 of Pac-Man's friends, 1 in each hub world. That's what we need the key for, and we're about to do that right here. And once you do that, you'll see in the last level, you find this Pac-Man at the very end of it, and you don't even have to beat the level. You just exit out, and it unlocks the final boss. It's really funny. But I'm getting a little spoilers.
Yeah, this is the English version of the game. The Japanese version for this category loses like 2 seconds or something. So we run on English. It's now in Manic Mines. This is an unnecessarily hard level for like this early in the game.
World is just way too hard to be World 2.
But it's actually because this level's actually 2 levels. There's only 2 platforming levels in this hub, and that's because they didn't finish the 3rd one, and what they had, they just kind of squished it on the end of this one. So this level is like is one of the longer levels in the game, but that's actually because it's 2 levels.
That spider, you actually have to wait for a second for it to come down. Otherwise, if you jump on the bounce pad, you run right into it. So you have to stand there for a second.
Yeah, the TAS actually can get past that, but I have not actually figured out how the heck it did that. So you have to lower him down. All right, this is the box of terror. Okay, I didn't die. That box kills you. So ledge grabs in this game, because this game is awesome. It is possible to jump too far to grab the ledge and not far enough to make the jump. And if you do that, you bonk the ledge and fall down and die. So on some jumps...
Usually mostly only happens when you're wiggling around like this. Casually, it's not really a huge issue, to be honest. But yeah, speedrunning, it is a nightmare.
Yeah, so some jumps, like that jump to the box, like I could have jumped further, but if I did, I probably would have died. So I actually intentionally tried to grab the ledge so that I didn't die. It's weird.
There's also a lot of... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the zigzagging also applies to swimming. So
it's a lot more finicky underwater, but it does work.
Yeah.
Something to point out about the wiggling, though, is that if you play on a PS2 or PS3 with the analog mode activated, you can use both analog sticks at the same time, and if your rhythm is good, you can use that to go a lot faster with your wiggling. And Joe does not do that because he has only 2 hands.
Yeah. I'm also human.
With just one hand D-pad wiggling, he still goes really fast. So you can imagine what like 2 sticks wiggling can be like.
Nice. Okay, so the damage boost up to get that key saves like over a minute. So I'm really happy I got it without having to death abuse. Lives are also
backtracking there.
Lives are also a super premium in this game because there aren't very many of them. And if you game over, this game puts you back on the title screen. And I'm not saving, so I can't game over.
Don't die, Joe. So coming up, we're going to see the first of the 2 skips for those obstacles we talked about.
Not yet. We still got like a couple levels there, buddy.
Oh, that's right, the space world.
this guy conveniently forgetting the best world in the game, the space world.
Whoopsie.
So this is probably the best level in the game? Question mark.
Kind of have to agree with you on that one.
Certainly a contender. Like, it's one of the few in the discussion. This is another level I'm going to be getting the Pac-Man letters in, which will let me activate that, what we call level skip glitch.
This is a really short level, so all the letters are like fairly quick to get. So it's a really good level to do this on. Not the fastest, but it's up there.
So the skip that you're doing is really only effective in the case where it takes less time to collect all the letters in the previous level than it does to beat the next level.
Yeah, which it always does,
but
because
always
getting the letters in any level takes, I would say, at the most about 45 seconds, and every level in this game is like at least 2.5 minutes. Even if you're just going straight through and not collecting anything.
So what prevents you from doing it more often, or is it just it's not possible anymore?
So I can't skip any level that has a key in it, or any level that has a friend in it, because I need the keys to get the friends, and if I don't save all the friends, I can't actually fight the final boss.
That's not entirely true. You could skip a level with a key or friend in it, but in the case
you have to go back in it.
You would have to get the letters. And you would only be skipping the portion of the level after you get the key. And the keys are usually fairly late into the level, so it's just not really worth it.
Gotcha.
And as far as the friends go, I mean, once you've unlocked the friend, you really have no business being in that entire world anymore. Like we said, the friends are the only check the game does for opening the final boss. So once you've gotten the friend in any given world, you can just move on to the next one.
As direct as the trick seems, it's actually one of the most difficult parts of the run just because of how high the stakes are for certain things. If you die in a certain level, because sometimes it's faster to go directly into a level and save movement. But if you die there, you can trigger the level skip, and you have to reset because you'd have to play the other level casually.
Yeah, so there's 3 instances of that in the fastest route of this game, and you can skip 2 of them by doing the levels in different order, and this is the only one you can't. So I can't die here, or it's very bad.
He actually did a safety strat earlier for Crazy Cannonade. He could have saved it through there, but he decided to go to the mine level first to get it out of the way.
Yeah, it would have been faster to just do the levels in the natural order there, because that's just less movement, but it's way, way risky for a marathon.
Crazy Cannonade is a pretty tough level.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're Joe, every level's easy. But...
Right. So it's actually possible to skip.
Jump. Sad.
Yeah, you can skip that chain, but I'm not an idiot because this is a marathon, and I haven't played the game in a while. It saves like 2 seconds. It looks cool. But...
It's such a fun skip.
Yeah, it's really good. So you're supposed to use the elevator to climb up here and go back down.
Yeah, that's what these floating things are that you roll on to make go up and down. Those are elevators, by the way. Forgot to put them.
Yeah, completely optional.
By the way, the way he's clipping through the ceiling on those little tubes is literally just because he's kind of like clipped into the most forward part of it. So it just kind of lets you through the top. There's no special input.
All right, so now we're at the part where we skip the first obstacle.
Big skip numero uno.
This was found by PLP years ago because he thought, this game is pretty busted. You can probably just like walk right into this and get through it. So he spent about 15 minutes mashing buttons against the wall until he clipped through, and wall skip was found. I have a message from PLP. He says, "Hey guys."
So that strat to actually jump around it was found by myself and Nitrovsky at like 5 in the morning in the casual room at GDQ. So shout out to Nitrovsky, he's a good man.
The original strat that PLP found was a lot harder. Also, if you die in the hub doing wall skip, like he said, he has to carry the level skip through, that can crash the game. So don't do that either.
Gosh.
We'll be doing that again later, so...
the stakes have never been higher.
Yeah. Also, it looks weird that I skipped the level that I did and came back to this one. But this level's much shorter, and it's also better. So it just works out really nicely.
Yeah, and you get the letters in it, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, it's faster to get the letters in it.
You can't get like 2 level skips and stack them or anything. You have to use one before you can get another.
Yeah. So this level really showcases like the power of zigzagging, like just clearing gaps like that. I put some body English on that one. I was leaning into the controller and everything. Made sure I made it.
So those little turning things that he just jumped over, they really like to take advantage of Pac-Man being a ball for some reason. So like if you're too high on a certain angle, he can just kind of roll off. There's not really a way to recover that, so you can just kind of roll off and die. And the only way to kind of get around that is if you bounce, but even sometimes you'll just roll right into it anyway.
So, but since I didn't get to say myself, since Joe rudely spoiled it, let's talk a little bit about the history of World 1. I was the first person to ever speedrun this game because it was about 2015, maybe 2016. Do you remember, Joe?
Probably 15 because I was around at 16 and I wasn't around when the first people ran this. So
probably like late 2015-ish, or like somewhere around there.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt your story because there's a funny glitch here. So.
Oh, funny glitch time.
Oh boy.
So this being a funhouse, oh, nice jump, I'm bad. There are trick mirrors at the top of this level, and if you look in them, you get a funny Pac-Man image.
Funny Pac-Man image.
But if you get inside the mirror, then the actual Pac-Man model is the funny one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to attempt to do that here. I'll probably screw it up, but I'll try it. It just loses like no time to attempt. So, well, I've got the good camera angle too, so this will be really easy. So just grab on that ledge that clearly exists.
Yep.
And then I'll jump in the mirror here, and so now Pac-Man looks really funny. Make him really skinny. Make him really fat. If you get a teetering animation here, it looks pretty good. Man, here's a good one. Cool game.
Very cool game.
Yeah.
So it was around somewhere in 2015, like 2015-ish. I had been a part of the Pac-Man community, talking to mostly the people that ran World 2. No one had done a run of this game at the time. There were a few people who attempted it, but most gave up. What was the legendary time that I had for such a long time? 3 hours?
It was just under 3 hours.
Okay, just under 3 hours. And here's Joe beating it in under 30, probably. Well, maybe not under 30.
It won't be under 30.
Probably.
Yeah. So now we have the best trick in the game. So this level is by far the most convoluted in the entire game in terms of like what you actually have to do to get everything. First, I'm just going to abuse a bunch of scenery to skip up here because that's way faster. And I'm going to get this extra life because it's a marathon, even though I haven't died yet. I should have. There's nothing wrong with having too many lives in this game. It's really easy to just die a lot.
Don't die.
And the intended stuff to do in this level is you have to traverse a lot of swimming to obtain a bell. And you use that bell to open a door, and that door gives you the key.
When he says a lot of swimming, it's like you're supposed to go like all the way down this giant thing with like 4 layers, go down to the 4th layer, do some puzzles to get an item, to go up to the 3rd layer to do some puzzles to get an item, to go get the bell.
Yeah, but what we're going to do is...
It's like probably like 20 minutes to do casually.
But what we're going to do is we're going to clip through this door, and this is the clip that doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, it never works.
This is, so if we're going to go over estimate, it's going to be because I'm here for like 10 minutes.
At least you won't die. Probably.
This is really shows off the consistency in the physics in this game.
Yeah, so if I was going for like world record, I would have already reset. Oh, now I got it. Nice. Okay, now I have to not die. I have no health. So if I die here, it'll be really bad.
Yeah, you want to skip this checkpoint as well because you can use a death abuse after grabbing the key here to...
There we go.
Right back to where the friend is.
Yeah, because that also prevents the water level in this room from rising, and so you don't have to...
Line jump? Sad.
No, I need to bunch up. I wasn't going to make it. So this is...
You can jump during that, like, fade in after you die there. But you can't see.
Yeah.
Also, I'd just like to point out how far ahead Joe is in terms of skill in this game, as second place is 36 minutes, and he's 7 minutes ahead of it with a 29.
Yeah, no one else has really gone as ham on this game as Joe has. Every category he's completely dominated by himself. Shout-outs to Joe for being an epic gamer.
Shout-outs to this game for being super fun to play. This game rules.
Most of the time.
Yeah. I'm gonna make this dank cycle here. Oh, I screwed it up. And I still got the ledge grab. Okay, that works. I could have skipped the ledge grab if I was good. Or if I didn't press X an extra time like an idiot. So if I was going for a record, this would be a level where I would actually be getting the Pac-Man letters. But then I would have to do the next level without dying. And if you've played this game before, you probably know that that's not a good idea in a marathon. When you're going for record, you got to go for broke. But
Go fast.
there's a nice little ceiling flip here. Oh, nice, I screwed it up. Right, let's try again. I screwed up again. What the heck? This is really easy. There we go. There we go. Okay.
That was an instance of Pac-Man kind of turning into a ball and just rolling around wherever he wants to.
Yeah, he kind of like ragdolls like that sometimes. It's kind of annoying.
Right, I have no health here. That's actually so bad that I'm going to intentionally die. Because you want health at the end of this level. It's really not a good idea to play this level with no health. Especially with the strats like towards the end.
There's a lot of damage boosts coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need your health.
Right, this is a nice puzzle skip. Really
Just
hard.
Need your health in real life. Yeah, you can do that casually, probably by. I think I found that by accident.
You can also use the button to do that too. You can grab the ledge in the cutscene.
So not only can you do that, but you can also do it with a backup if you somehow mess it up. Mess up the strat where you just hold up.
Alright, so this is a very difficult jump where I'm going to jump on the inside of this tube and then bounce around to the outside.
Fun strat. To be fair, though, those boxes kind of have janky hitboxes, and sometimes they can, like, instead of bouncing all the way up, sometimes you bounce and just kind of, like, fall through it after breaking it, which is technically faster if you're just trying to get the thing that it's inside of it, but if it happens in a time like that where you are not trying to do that, then it can mess you up.
Yeah, so I got that perfectly. So now I get this key. Do not forget that. That's a very easy thing to do when you learn this game, is to forget to get that key. That's a really good way to lose like 10 minutes. So
Done that at least 3 times.
yeah.
Oh, I've
Right.
definitely been there as well.
Now we've got the one cycle here, so I'm going to try and get across these without having to wait for an extra cycle or stop. This is going to be close. Oh, I almost butchered it right at the end there. All right,
Oh, that was real close. You were lucky you got that jump off, dude.
yeah, I pressed X, like, I didn't bounce, I just like did a standing jump for no reason.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we got the
And
level
that's
pretty
one
good.
of those situations where Pac-Man can just like ragdoll or go into some.
Yeah, just, I mean, the checkpoint is right there before that last set, but I don't want to die, so.
Fun fact about this game as well, it does have one of the few PlayStation 1 games to have widescreen support, as well as fully remappable controls, but
Yeah.
widescreen support. It's pretty cool. Joe doesn't use it because he thinks it looks bad. He's wrong.
It doesn't look that bad, but the normal view does look better. But the widescreen is pretty good.
Yeah, like it's surprising to see a PS1 3D platformer with widescreen. Even Pac-Man World 2, I don't believe had widescreen.
It does not have widescreen. No,
Yeah.
it does not. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe with on PC with like a mod.
Ooh! This could be the most epic backup of all time here.
Oh yeah, this has collision for
Oh, I'm good.
some reason.
I'm so good.
Look at that god gamer. Look at him go.
I didn't know you could make that jump from there. Whenever I did that, I kind of like follow the trail back to the beginning.
No, yeah, you can. Yeah, that jump is it's jank, but you can make it. It's really easy to just roll off that pipe and die though. So
Pretty much every one of these like pipes in the background in this level, they all have collision like that. It's very
yeah, actually in that area where I did that, there's like 2 little tiny carousels in the background. Actually, if you land on those also have collision.
I mean, not that it really does anything useful. The closest to anything like that being useful we saw in the last level where Joe like bounced on some kind of out of bounds ish looking terrain, but you know, it was more just like a small skip.
Right, shout out to Sky.
Shout out to the Sky.
So Sky is Sky's the person who had the record when I picked this game up, and
Also made the test.
yeah, and his PB died there, so I'd like to shout him out because he doesn't like this level. Also, all of these platforms here, you're supposed to make them rotate. Notice how they're not rotating, and that's making this way easier, and it's faster, so it's just a win-win.
Yeah, you're supposed to go into the background where he did that like spin. Rev roll off the right. and like landed on some collision down there. Normally, you're supposed to go into the foreground and do like a bunch of stuff to hit a switch.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
so this is
come
a
back.
nice wall here. Really, really nice wall there.
What? I did not know about this one.
Yeah,
know
this
that
is
one?
supposed to be one of the levels with the level skip involved.
Yeah, so in a world record attempt, if you die in this level, the run's over.
Oh yeah.
So
There's a lot of sections with the geometry in this level where you can kind of just like roll off. So it's like the definition of something being your fault and not being your fault.
so that wall doesn't exist either.
Well, that one at least makes more sense.
That one is dope.
Yeah, that one's really
I
good.
like that one.
It's not to do this vertical climb section. There's no way to make this go faster. You just have to. All of these platforms for like the next set are too high to reach from below without actually making them move up and down, including this last one. I've tried to bounce off one of these little plane guys to get up to this thing. You just can't get high enough. All right, now I have to tell myself to actually beat this level, because in a normal attempt, you don't beat this level, but I have to beat this level.
Like I said earlier, once you save the friends, you usually just exit out.
Yeah, but I need to get the level skip glitch here, so I have to beat this level in order to get it. If I just paused and exited, I wouldn't have the level skip glitch.
By the way, that kind of thing's consistent through a lot of the game, is that the forwards part of certain objects have collision, but if you can go behind them, you just walk right through.
Yeah. All right, now this is the big boy skip. This one I actually do need to focus for. This skip is very hard. But this skips the other overworld barrier. This one is much easier to die on.
This one used to be a much easier, but the strat we
I
used.
screwed up on back and bounce. You gotta try again.
The strat we used involved opening the PlayStation disc tray to eject the disc to deload the next chunk, because this game loads terrain in chunks. But once we found a way to do it without doing that, we decided it would be more fair, because there'll be people that run on PS3 digital or something like that where they don't have that as an option or emulator.
It is now considered sinful to eject
Yeah.
the disc.
It is now banned to eject the disc, but it was a really cool strat. The first ever GDQ run of this game actually had that, and then
All right, here we go. Here's the big boy jump.
found this skip like the next morning at GDQ.
Oh, we're in. Okay, so if I had died there, I would have crashed the game. Just as a point of reference.
So didn't die.
Didn't die, didn't crash the game. So we're in there. Yeah, so I originally found that skip, like Beef was saying, where you would open the disc tray on the console to deload stuff. And then, yeah, it was like a day after my run at AGDQ 17 of this game that Sky, who had been non-existent for years, just popped up and said, "Oh yeah, you can just clip out of bounds here by walking into this railing."
Oh, Sky found that? I thought you found
Yeah, no, I didn't find that.
that. Okay.
No, I found the method for the wall, but
That's right.
yeah. All right, so this is probably the best level with the best ambiance. This level really owns. I really like this one. The music is super creepy, and it looks the whole vibe is super creepy. Also, I could not tell you the last time that I failed that skip. I'm really bad. All right, let's try again.
That skip always looked way too hard.
All right, that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to fall down here.
That's another instance of him going behind objects.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right,
these
now,
walls in the background, you can just walk through them if you're coming from the other side, back face calling or whatever,
all right, this metal suit, totally not copied from Mario 64. Is just lets you run through everything here, and so it's way better than not having it.
Hey, didn't get spiked by the spider, that's good.
Yeah, no, I got a strat there, like, so that you don't get spiked by the spider.
Big brain.
Yeah, it's like a 400 IQ strategy there, at least. All right, so you take damage here, but there's a full health refill right there, so it literally doesn't matter. All right, this key, there's a number of ways to skip into it, so you can get the fast strat. No, let's get the backup. All right, that works.
Whoa.
That was interesting.
Yeah, it sent me way off to the left. That was really weird. I thought it was going to send me like straight up, like it's supposed to.
Classic Pac-Man World.
Yeah, the physics in this game are questionable at best.
Okay, so to preemptively dissuade the questions that we're going to get about why don't we skip the final boss, because we have the level skip and you can use it on the bosses, but we don't use it on the final boss. And the reason for that is because the final boss, you. It's weird with this game.
It doesn't actually count as beating. It counts as beating the level, but it doesn't actually count as beating the game. Like, it will not trigger the ending.
You don't get the credits.
Yeah,
you don't get the ending.
Yeah, you'll get the credit for completing that level, but it doesn't actually count as completing the game.
Yeah,
also,
the loading zone's missing, right?
Also, if you do that, the loading zone disappears. Also, Beef, I made that jump finally for you. So
what?
That jump is cursed when Beef was watching me, but I got it, so the curse has been broken. All right. One other thing that we haven't mentioned about this game is depth perception, and this level is,
not good.
It's a thing with the depth perception.
It's just because the camera is like far too angled.
It's too low. Yeah, the Japanese version actually puts the camera much higher here, and it's much easier. And it also like puts shadows over the clouds.
Is that a PAL as well?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you can actually jump from that flame platform to the left of where he just came from, all the way over to where Miss Pac-Man is, but it requires some like insane wiggling.
Yeah, I've made it a couple times. My controller doesn't even have analog sticks, so it's not possible for me to make it.
You can't do it without an analog stick controller.
All right, so I'm gonna pause and exit here, which is odd. You're like, you didn't even beat the last level, but now the boss is open because I've saved all the friends. So the loading zone appears. So now I can fight the boss.
You can even see the loading zone for the previous level isn't like the yellow completed level loading zone.
Yeah. Also, you notice that I have not fought any other bosses yet. And there are a bunch of levels that I didn't complete or even unlock, so...
Yep. Normally, the beating all the levels to unlock the bosses and beating the bosses is what removes those barriers, but we skipped them both, so we don't do that.
Yeah. So this boss gave me nightmares as a kid. I'm going to tell you right now, he's scary.
He did?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you game over, then he comes up and he laughs, and it's scary. I didn't like it.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Pac-Man World.
Yeah, so phase 1, you shoot dots at him like that. Phase 2, you bounce on his head. You're not supposed to be able to bounce on his head like I did. The blue trapezoids that lead towards the middle pop out of the ground as stairs. But his hitbox is really low, so you can just hit him from the ground.
It's kind of janky and hard to do until you get a feel for it. But yeah, it's there it is. There he goes.
It's just a lot more zigzagging.
A big thing in this fight is trying to avoid getting hit, because at least in the first and third phases, Pac-Man will stop.
Right, please don't kill me. Okay,
and it wastes like 1,000,000 years or something.
Yeah, roughly.
That's another thing.
Kind of like that.
Yep, there you go. So now you just kind of sit around and wait. You can get this last phase really fast if you get good luck and manipulate him well.
Yeah. Also, this strat where you roll into him, I found from a random Let's Play on YouTube.
Yeah.
Also, time is coming up real quick. And time.
Really dope.
I'm gonna guess like 32:40.
You're close. 33. 32:33. That is.
Wow, that's pretty. I was gonna say 32:30, but I decided to hedge my bet a little bit.
Yeah, that was a really solid run.
Good.
Yeah, that's a very solid time. Oh, shouts to my boy Sky, who has appeared in the chat. It's the first time I've seen him post anything in like 3 years, so he's a good man. Also, this cutscene is great, so let's just let the folks enjoy. Press F for Orson. All right, so that's Pac-Man World 1. Please run this game. As Proto Kid, as Proto Kid mentioned, his time is second place, and it's like 36 minutes. And I did a run in a marathon, and I beat that by 4 minutes. So please run this game. It needs more runners. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want to learn this game, again, join the Pac-Man Discord. I have a bunch of tutorials on some of the wackier stuff, and I'm always willing to just pop out a quick video or anything to explain anything that anyone's having trouble with.
Yeah, please run this game. It's very funny. It's like mini Omega LOL, very funny.
Community's very good as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed both my games here. And if you want to learn them, yeah, get in touch with me or join the Pac-Man crew. And stick around for the rest of this little 40th anniversary celebration because we've got some cool stuff coming up. The next up is the sequel to this game, Pac-Man World 2, a game I think that most people who have played a Pac-Man game have played. Certainly is the most popular, it seems. So stick around for that run because that run is really cool and the music in that game is absolutely amazing. So thanks, everyone.
Yep. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute with McKitty running Pac-Man World 2.
See you guys.
Peace.
Later.
Welcome back, everybody, to GDQ Hotfix. We're continuing our show with the Pac-Man 40th anniversary, celebrating 40 years of awesome Pac-Man games, and still making the rounds on Pac-Man World. We're now here with Pac-Man World 2, any percent with McKitty. But before we jump into the run, I just want to remind people of some things coming up. Don't forget that if you want to find out more information about SGDQ dates and rescheduling, you can find out all that information on GamesDoneQuick.com. And we have a brand new show here on Hotfix starting tomorrow called Tina's RPG Show, I guess. That's the name of the show again. I assure you that I do know what I'm talking about. It is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern, starting with Final Fantasy IV with Brosentia, so that should be a lot of fun. We thank you so much for all of your support. Your support is what makes shows like this possible. It is funded in part by your bits and subscriptions, so please do consider subscribing to support future broadcasts. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to McKitty with Pac-Man World 2.
What's up, everyone? This is the second world of the first... Well, it's the second world of the Pac-Man world. But except it's World 1, but it's better.
Yeah, it sounds like this is the more popular one from what Joseph was saying.
There's like, I think, I don't remember how, but I think there's like at least, I want to roughly say around, I think, 15-ish runners of World 1, but this game has like 60 runners on the leaderboards.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. So whenever you're ready, you can just count me in, and I'll start the timer, and you can get going.
All right, I guess should be ready now. So 3, 2, 1, go.
I guess I should mention that we also have Nacho Brado here, who's going to be doing another run in just a moment. As soon as this run is over, we're going to have Nacho doing Pac-Man World Rally, so that should be a lot of fun. But here on commentary for this game.
Hello.
All right, so that was the first level. That was pretty difficult, but we made it pass through.
GG.
We did it, guys. And this is the second level of the game, Bare Basics. This is pretty much the tutorial level of the game. I guess I'll explain the tech in this game. So, the main tech you'll see in this game is rev rolling. And it's kind of rip-off of the Sonic Spin Dash, as like Joe said in his World 1 run. And you want to do that as much as possible because he goes super fast.
So it's mostly repeatedly pausing and spin dashing for the main movement tech in this?
Pretty much.
Okay.
The first couple of those are pretty straightforward, but once we get to like the second world, there will be a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah, the other moves that Pac-Man has in his arsenal in this game is the butt bounce and the kickflip. You don't see those nearly as much as the rev roll, though.
Alright, so I'm gonna play this level a little bit safe because dying this level is actually pretty easy. And this is where a lot of early runs die.
Yeah, a lot of pits in this level.
So I just skipped doing a strat that saved about a second, but it's really easy to die on.
Yeah, it seems like an easy choice.
Yeah. The next level here, there's just a short and easy cycle you want to catch on the platform. Right here. And then what McKid's going to do is attempt waterless, which is avoid swimming in this water at all.
Ooh, that was really clean.
Oh, and he got the ledge grab list as well. Awesome.
Ah, ledge grab there, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's back up on. Pretty straightforward.
And coming up next, is the first boss, Blinky.
It's technically Clyde, but Namco apparently mixed up the ghost names in this game for some reason.
Yeah. So the strat here is you rev roll. There's an invisible wall encirculating the entire arena, and you want to ricochet Pac-Man back and forth onto him and Blinky. And what you do is once you hit Blinky, you pause, and actually runs out his iframes as you see there. So you're able to get 6 consecutive hits back to back.
Okay, that's pretty broken.
Yeah, that makes no sense. So we're coming up into the second world of the game. And we're about to come up to our first sequence break of the run here, which I'll have Nacho explain.
Yeah, so there's a box. You want to stand right here. And once your rev rolls over here, there's some Badoings that are already loaded in. That saves about 12 seconds, I think.
I think it's 16-ish, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a blind rev roll to skip a small portion of the level.
Yeah. And now we're coming up to a level where there's a strat that I'm going to try only once. If I miss it, I'm not going to do it again, but it looks really cool. So I really want to show it off. So
I'm gonna do the strat.
Yep.
Nice.
This is being played on the GameCube version. Alright, so we're coming up to it here.
Yeah, so these angle Badoings, they have some weird physics.
That was an awful attempt.
Oh.
Alright. It's actually faster to actually re-enter.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm not going to do it again. So what I was trying to do there is I was going to try to lower that little platform there. And I was going to try to skip going to the other tree, and that saves like 2.5 to 3 seconds. But it's hard to pull off in real time, so it's not super worth it. But I really want to try because it looks very cool. And I completely butchered it as well.
Yeah, what's supposed to happen is Pac-Man's like hitbox gets stuck.
Yeah, I think the way it's kind of supposed to work is that he's glitching in between like being on the ground and being on a slope, so the game doesn't know what to do, and it just keeps going back and forth, and it just lowers the Badooing, and then the lower you drag it, the more it goes up.
Yeah, for the rest of this level though, it's a lot of health management. Because with all the saws introduced in this level, you want to be careful. And that's right there is pacifist.
I also have no health here, so I'm going to play it a little bit safe here.
Okay. Yeah, that pacifist strat, what you do is you knock over the bear and then rev past them. It saves a second. Otherwise, you just have to kill him.
Yeah, I was on a good cycle there, so I didn't have to worry. Other than that death, that was decent.
Nice.
I really wish I got the strat, though, because it looks very cool.
So here in Butane, we're going to do another small sequence break here. A rev to the bonus area.
Yeah, and we rev around a death trigger there.
Yeah, there's a death trigger by that tree that's really high for some reason. But we can just go around to the right and skip it.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Paper Luigi 13, who actually was the one who found that skip.
So here we're gonna skip getting an extra chrome ball and just damage a boost right through those fire. A nice revel jump there.
And he's mostly known as C13, by the way, but he was formerly known as Paper Luigi 13. I also did a little unintentional jump there, because that jump I did like a little bit, or it was not intentional. Because even though it looks intentional, but it's not. Because of the camera placement, because all the other stuff is loaded in, so it's very convenient.
So we're at the second boss. Don't blink because he's gonna disappear.
Yeah, easy boss.
Yep. think this is one of 2 versions that's able to actually keep a rev roll on top of Inky like that.
Yeah, it's on the American GameCube version and the PlayStation 2 1.0 version of the game.
Yeah, any other version, once you actually rev roll into Inky and later Pinky, you actually just get knocked back.
Yeah.
So this is why GameCube is actually our fastest version. Is one of the reasons because of the bosses are so fast.
Oh! Nice unintentional rev jump.
Oh no! That almost looked like a stored butt bounce.
I think I was like mashing A or something. I don't know what happened.
No, okay. Yeah, here in the third world, we're using some ice physics. We can actually keep the momentum from the rev roll on the ice, like at the end of the rev roll, you just jump. It also introduces rev ramps. They're our friend. Not really.
Yeah, they're
mean.
trying to hurt us.
Yeah, with this route, we skip a lot of checkpoints, so it's kind of scary.
Yeah, but this level is pretty easy as a top level player, but as you saw in the beginning, I died because I'm bad at the video game. Smiley face. Because usually dying in this level loses a bunch of time. So like if you die right at the end, you basically lose a minute.
Yeah. So this next level, Avalanche Alley, it's a very Crash Bandicoot-ish. And you'll see why.
Yep, right here.
Yeah, of course, with Pac-Man's rev roll, you just outspeed that snowball relatively easily. There's multiple Pac-Dot chains in this level. One we skip near the end. This one he's on now, you can technically skip, but it's just a really hard setup to.
It's not super hard, but it's a little precise, and it
Yeah.
saves like 2 to 4 seconds, but Miskin loses 35 to 40. But you have to do it in the low percent category, which is pretty much getting the lowest amount of fruits and Pac-Dots possible.
Yeah, and with the snowball coming after you too, like you have a limited time to actually set up to get the rev roll you need.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Mantra, who's the world record holder of low percent. He's in the chat now. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to roll to this blower. Whoosh! Ooh, that was really good. That was a very good boost.
Wow, yeah, that was a really good one. Yeah, so what we can do here is if you use the terrain here a little bit and skip those bedoings. That's just a taste of the terrain abuse we do in World 4. It's gonna be really great.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Not gonna lie, that was actually really cool, but it's unfortunate that you died at the end.
I think it's the first time I've died to that boost ever.
I don't think I've ever seen that either.
Yeah, so this level is also pretty risky because dying this level is very easy if you do these. Ooh, that was also pretty fast. The angle for that boost is actually very hard, but...
Yeah, I
The
don't think I've
straps
ever
in this room look really good, but they also look terrifying because you're going right at the camera.
yeah.
Yeah. Like you have to like practice this level so many times just to actually remember the layout. And even then, sometimes your angles with the wind boost can be sometimes unpredictable.
I'm gonna try to play this safe. Alright. Good.
Nice.
It's easy to die on that boost. Yeah, that's Avalanche Valley.
Yeah, with the very last wind blower there, you can actually get a certain angle and and land in that level complete spot. But I think at this point it's still TAS only, right?
Yeah. There is an RTSF for it, but it's not really used. And it's also stupid hard. Because you have to have you have to be very close to the blower. And you have to get bumped at like certain angles, and you have to hold certain angles at certain parts, and it's just dumb.
So now we're here in Blade Mountain. This is what the some of the box arts show. Some ice skating. So the goal here is try to go as straight as possible. When Pac-Man has his hands behind his back like he does there, he'll gain more and more speed. Obviously, with all the turns and stuff, it's a little bit difficult to do that, but... Yeah, you can also turn kind of slightly left and right as well while holding it.
I can see why this game's maybe more popular. It's got a lot more variety for the level types.
Definitely. Yeah, later on we'll have some swimming. We'll be doing some roller skating.
AKA 8 minutes of nothing coming up. Very shortly.
Don't spoil it.
I won't say what it is, but it's very quote-unquote fun. Let's just say that.
Yeah, there's a reason we have a category extension called Fun%.
Yeah, you gotta sell it better. I mean, you could say that it's the hardest 8 minutes in the run, and who's gonna dispute you other than other Pac-Man World 2 runners? But they won't tell.
True. I guess I can mention we've already passed all of the minor ramps, but you can actually go fast enough to where you don't actually have to jump off of them. And when Pac-Man's in the air, you get some drag and slow down.
And
Obviously,
you can
this last
skip.
one you can't skip.
You can
but-
also skip the ramps completely. The one I did skip saved like about a second. There are most others you can skip, but they're just kind of difficult or just not worth it because they're slower.
Yeah. So here we're at Pinky. Pretty much the same as Inky, just a few more hits to do on third and fourth phase. Again, you blink, you miss it. And done.
Why keep skipping coming?
And now we're on to the fourth world, the lava world. This is where all the terrain abuse strats start to come in. And right off the bat here, like running against the wall there. Just ricocheting off of small little bumps. Yeah, the physics in this game is really fun to play with. There's all sorts of strats.
Yeah, there's a bunch of strats in this level.
Yeah, like we skipped a platform cycle there just by using that little tiny bump to get enough height to go to the next area, to the next platform. The way he's doing there is it's called a rev jump. So what he's doing is he's charging up to a full rev, and then when he lets go, about 2 frames later, he presses A, and that forward momentum goes into height instead. So he actually gets a little bit more height and distance out of that jump.
Yeah, you can also get like a little speed boost there. So like right here, I'm gonna try this once. Let's hope I get it.
It looks like the platform stopped before you were able to let go.
I was too far behind, or too far from the platform. All right, I'm just gonna wait this out.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about dying in this room here is this cycle is painful to watch.
Yeah. You can actually back it up, but I decided not to go for it because it's a little bit precise and it's also easy to die on. How can you get into Pac-Man World 2 speedrun? Check my tutorial video on speedrun.com. youtube.com/Pac-Man World 2/guides, and you should be able to find a good guide. Or you can also join the Pac-Man speedrunning Discord, and we can also help everybody out.
So this level introduces the first major skip in the run. Normally what you do is you hit a bunch of buttons, lower the lava. Takes about 3.5, 4 minutes. Or you can just clip out of bounds here. So the lava plane is still active the entire time. So we're just using the Chrome Ball's ability to not take damage and just hop right over here. And the end goal is right there.
Yeah, so that skips pretty much 3.5 to 4 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, that was super well done. So in this level we have a minor skip at the end and some more platforming shenanigans. Normally there's a little puzzle you do in this room to spawn a little toast platform. But you can just abuse the train and
Uh-oh. Okay,
get right over.
That was really close.
Oh, that was super close.
There's also another skip coming up shortly that I'm probably going to mess up because I messed it up a lot in practice, so let's hope I don't. So I'm grabbing the Chrome Ball to skip waiting these cycles. Oh, nice animation glitch. Alright, so coming up here.
Yes, so there's this huge slide that you normally you take down.
Yeah,
But the entire thing is loaded, so you can just hop right down to the end.
Also, I didn't pay attention to my score, so let's hope I don't.
You were at 60, you're good.
Alright, nice.
Alright, this is probably everybody's nightmares of a boss. It's, yeah, Clyde is not easy to the casual. Huge difficulty spike here. But for us, we've come up with various rev jumps and eye bounces to clear this boss pretty quick. So unlike the other ones, you can't actually rev roll into Clyde, you just bonk off of him. Yeah, so his left eye is actually has a hitbox. You see there, he just kind of stood on top of it. And he was able to get up to the glass pretty quickly that way. And then we're abusing the rev jump's ability to get extra height, and doing it on the ramps there to get the height needed. Ah, it was close though.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the first hit on the 4 phase, his hitbox to actually hurt Clyde gets extremely tiny.
Alright, only 2 deaths. Other than that, that was pretty decent.
Yeah, that was really good. Alright, get your snorkels on, we're going swimming.
Yep. Here's the
So
fun
this-
part, run.
Yeah, so this and the next level is basically carbon copies of each other. Just little differences. The main strat that you want to do is just what he's doing is mashing B to do the little spin. And then there he did what's called a mind boost. So what you do is you intentionally take damage, and then while you're still in your iframes, you spin into another object that would give you damage as well, and it just expels you forward. It's pretty wonky that it actually works, but we're on the rails, so like we can only go so fast, so that speeds us up significantly.
Yeah. So like, if you like miss an item, you have to die to get it again, which is really annoying.
Yeah, 100%, and especially in these levels is a bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, because if you miss something, you have to get everything all over again, and then you lose several minutes.
Yeah, unless you notice it soon enough and you have a checkpoint. But
True.
yeah, so there are several setups in this level that's good for the mind boost that he's doing. Oh, you can also take you can also do mind boost off of the missiles, even though their hitboxes are much smaller than the mines, but
Yeah.
it's still an object that can give you damage. So
Yeah, it's more precise to boost off missiles though because of their shape, but it can be done.
yeah, and I feel like they give you more speed, but maybe that's just me. But I rarely see it anyway, so.
Oh, got a really good one, then I got stopped by another mine. Feels bad, man.
Ah.
Alright, that was a good showcase of a good boost. Yes, Blinky and Clyde swapped their names in this game. So technically Clyde was Blinky. Like I said, Namco's good at remembering their ghosts. Did that with some of their other games too. I think this is the first game where they did that, if I remember correctly. But
I can't remember.
I know in Pac-Man World 3 that happened too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they also
in a way, it's kind of fitting, because I think what they wanted to do is make the fourth boss like really cool sounding, like Clyde in the caldera. Like, oh man, scary.
Yeah. And
Otherwise, otherwise it would be Blinky in the caldera, and it's like,
what?
Okay. Yeah. It's nice mind boost you've been getting.
Yeah, I'm getting some nice boosts here.
So yeah, this level is second verse, same as the first. They did add some sharks. It's kind of spooky.
Ooh, that was really good.
Whoa, nice. There's a wall of mines coming up here in a little bit. And there's actually a really nice setup that we do for that. Shoutouts to Average Trey for finding the setup.
I can't do it. Rip.
Oh no.
There's nothing I could really do, unfortunately, but you can do a mind boost there. Shouts to Average Stray who found that.
Yeah, the mines are all just sitting there like in perfect spacing, so they have a really good setup for it.
Alright. Now, if you thought those two levels were fun, check out this one. Because it's more fun. Blinky in the burning region. I can agree, Proto Kid. This is Pac-Man. This game was released on the PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and PC.
Yeah, they were also released, I think, on...
There's technically a GBA port, but we don't talk about that. Smiley face.
Trying to think, the PAL versions came on, was it GameCube and PS2, I think?
Yeah, GameCube and PS2. And then the Japanese version came out only for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, which the Japanese version, unlike World 1, where it was very minor differences,
This one was
in
revamped
this
a lot.
game, Yeah, the physics for Pac-Man himself was changed.
Yeah, like take for example, like Mario Bros 3 was made easier in US, but it was harder in Japan. They're swapped for this game, so this game is harder in America and Europe, but it's easier in Japan.
Yep. Like, they actually had to make it easier for us in America first, because the 1.0 version of this game is ridiculously hard.
It's not super hard, but it's... Yeah, and the
Yeah.
PC port is literally the Xbox version, but there's like a couple things about PC that's different, but the PC version is terrible. Just play on emulator if you want to play on PC.
Yeah.
It's also very annoying to set up.
Every single version of this game has some kind of little difference in it,
Yeah.
and we always question it. Yeah, like the Japanese version also has some parts of levels just completely cut.
Yeah, like Into the Volcano and Volcanic Panic are actually made shorter. Like the
Yeah.
platform room that I was in, it does not exist in the Japanese version.
Yeah, funny enough, in the speedrun, Volcanic Panic's actually slower in Japanese because the end is in a different location.
Yeah, because
We actually had to do a different VP skip.
Yeah, the ending is where the Galaxian would be. And he also
Yeah.
filled all the pits in King and Chaos Impact Up Pond, which also made the game more free in Japan.
Yep, I think it's literally impossible to die on
Yeah,
King of Chaos apart from like ghost damage.
yeah, unless you like touch every enemy like 100 times, then you can die.
Yeah, like no pits, no nothing.
Yeah. I guess I should mention the PAL version of this game. The PAL also has some differences. As where in the previous two levels, you actually boost faster on the PAL version, but there are some other things that just make it slower. But it is still pretty interesting.
Yeah, like for instance, a difference. So in this version, when you beat a boss, you would just hold a direction, you would just go.
Yeah.
But in PAL and a few other different versions, when you beat a boss, the 100% screen will be there, and you would just sit there for like 3 seconds just looking at it before you can move.
That also happens if you get 0% on the level. So I think the devs want to just be like, hey, you got 0%. Are you proud of
Like-
yourself?
It's like, you should try harder. Come on.
Yeah, you should try harder, gamer. Come on.
Oh, the bosses in the Japanese
Nice
version.
lag.
Actually...
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I'm probably gonna lose a couple frames just from that.
I don't think I've ever seen lag that bad.
I've seen lag in where I lost like almost half a second to lag, where I accidentally used the bomb and all the bows were just on screen, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Nice.
That's like the second most lag I've ever seen in this game. Yeah, getting 0% this still gives you 40%. Because there are no pack dots, because 40% of your collectibles counts towards pack dots, but there are no pack dots in this level. And 50% of those, well technically 60 if you count the Galaxian. Because there's 10% which counts the Galaxian, I think, and then the other 50 counts towards the fruits. But yeah, there's nothing we can really do in this level. We just chill.
Yep.
The only thing I like to do when I'm in this level is just try to collect everything.
Yeah, it keeps your mind occupied.
Yeah, this
Don't
is
wanna
YPM.
fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, this is YPM, aka worst level in the game. Or the quote-unquote 8-minute stress test, as we like to call it. Because we're
Yeah,
on
good.
PP pace.
Yeah, if you're on a good run and you get to this level, you're basically just stressing out for 8 minutes because the next boss has a really hard setup to do.
And yeah, and you're just thinking yourself being in your head. And you're like, am I gonna get this trick? And then just like a minute later, you just get depressed and lose 30 seconds, which I guess I'll Nacho explain right before we finish this level.
Yeah, looks like you're getting kind of close. I can go ahead and try to explain it.
Yeah, we're like around. I don't have a timer running on my side, and I don't have stream open, so
Yeah, I think you're about a minute and a half left.
I want to say I'm 6 minutes in. I don't know.
Sounds right. So the next boss is a giant whale submarine thing, and it has 4 propellers on the back of it that you have to shoot down in order to defeat the boss. Each propeller in this version takes 9 hits each. So what we do is we have it set up to get 8 hits on each propeller as fast as we can, and then we do one big final, like a final sweeping motion to get all 4 propellers off at the same time. Because otherwise, if you don't get them all off, whale flies away, resets the hits on the propellers, and comes back. Casually, you would do it one at a time, and every time he would come back, whale would be a little bit farther away, so you'd actually have to lead your shots. So it's a bit annoying.
Yep.
And typically, we like going for 1 cycle, but if we get 2 cycle, we would prefer the bottom propellers if we miss them, because the top propellers, when you have 1 propeller left, whale just loves to just hang on top of the screen for half the time.
Yeah. Bottom right is the one you want to miss because that's the fastest to back up. So if I miss it, it's gonna cost me a minimum of 24 seconds, I think. But let's take a look. And we're done.
Nice, alright. Good luck.
Here we go.
Yeah, so I'll let my kid concentrate as he tries to do this trick here.
Alright. And so I want to enter the level ASAP, which obviously you want to do for like most levels, but it's important here because the whale actually moves on the screen on the map screen, which is important. So I'm going to be quiet so I can concentrate. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. Ah, I didn't go high enough.
Oh no.
And that's also a top one. That's fine.
Yeah, top left isn't as bad to miss as top right, I don't think.
Yeah, it's still, the top propellers are still annoying to back up, so this is pretty much a minimum of a 24-second time loss. I also don't know the setup for the top left, so I'm just gonna have to yell this setup.
Oh.
Also, this is pretty bad.
Alright,
yeah, Joe also watched me got 1 cycle at SGDQ. Like he said 1 cycle incoming, and I got 1 cycle.
Nice.
It's a hard trick, but that was still a decent 2 cycle. Now
Yeah.
heading into the final world. Oh, okay.
Nice save.
Yeah. I didn't think I was gonna make that, so I just went back. So I was just like 2 seconds I lost. And also, this song does bang. It's also my top list of favorite songs in this game. So I guess I'll go ahead and explain pretty much the sections of this level because it's really well designed in my opinion. So the first section here was pretty easy platforming, and the second section, which I'm on right now, the platforms start to fall, but it's still easy platforming. And then the third section, the platforms don't fall, but the jumps are more tighter. And then the final section is tighter jumps and falling platforms. So it's very nice level design in my opinion. There will never be a Pac-Man World 4. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, in the following platform sections, you want to also watch out for what we call platform RNG. When some of the platforms are really close to the water, and this water insta kills you. And how you land on it kind of dictates on which way it's going to dip, but like the speed of which it goes down varies. It's complete RNG. So sometimes you can get bad enough luck where there was a platform earlier on where like kind of the water was actually clipping the top of the platform. If that dips down fast enough, you don't have time to jump. It just instantly kills you.
Yeah, I lost a run to it. It stings, yes.
Yeah, it is no bueno.
Alright, that jump's a little bit scary, but I made through it. So if you grab the left side of that pillar, it's, I want to say impossible because you can actually recover it, but it's really hard to actually get up because the player will start falling to the right, but you're grabbing on the left and it's just really hard to get up. Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, so sometimes when you're at certain certain heights with the ledge, Pac-Man gets confused if he actually wants to grab it or not.
Also, nice bad kill I got there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw it. As you said that, I watched the restream. I was like, ooh, he got it. So this level is the only level in any percent where fruit are actually required to grab. There's that apple at the very beginning he just got, and then there's a cherry and a skeleton later on that we have to grab. And they unlock some fruit chests that have platforms for us to continue the level. And also in this level, there is a global cycle of a platform at the end that he wants to try to catch.
And judging by your move, I should be able to catch it still. So we need to open up the joint in that platform.
Yeah, if you catch the standard cycle at the end, your split time is normally a 2:04 or 2:05.
Roughly around there. So there's also a platform that starts moving around when I go to that bridge. And it's this platform that I'm coming up to right now. So this one shows up as you go close to it, and as like Nacho said before, the final platform is on a global cycle, so it depends on your movement. And you can actually catch the cycle that's going away, but however, that's very hard to do, and it's not viable. And it's stupid hard.
I think only one person's ever gotten it in an IL.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Ruse, who actually did that. AKA the old legend of this game. So yeah, this is the cycle you traditionally catch.
Yep, you just use the momentum from the butt bounce onto that bridge and just zoom right into the end. Alright, if anybody remembers this level as a child, you would remember this level took forever because it's a giant maze. You have to traverse all these platforms, get the buttons, or we can just skip it like this. Yeah, the invisible wall on that walkway there does not extend below it, it's only above it. So we can abuse the Reveral and its momentum to just swing it yourself around and skip all the level.
Yep, that's Ghost Bayou. And that saves like around 5-7 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Alright, nice.
That looks good.
So yeah, that was a trick called Wait Skip, which is an 8-frame trick to jump out of that Pac-Man chain, and it pretty much skips like the little black bars to go away if you skip that cutscene fast. And then we're coming up to the final boss.
Spooky.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go walk and kick the face of this dumb boss.
Yeah, three phases, 4 hits apiece. We can stun lock him fully on the first and second phases. Then on the third phase, it's technically possible, but it's much harder. So what we just do we get the first 2 hits and then chase the last 2.
Yeah.
Then time will be when he gets the 4th hit on this phase here.
Yeah, time is coming up very shortly.
We almost not be dead.
Time. Alright, what was my time?
GG. 43:01.
Oh, nice.
Great run.
Better than my practice run.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. The game has a lot of really interesting variety.
Yeah.
And then it has a whole water world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Spooky gets trapped down because all the golden fruit have been restored. And I guess if we have time, there's one quick thing I would like to show off that a lot of people might have not known about because there's been a huge discovery in-game that there was a mystery of things, but it was recently discovered, so I really want to show it off here.
Yeah, if it only takes a minute or two.
Yeah, so I'm going to show off something where we unlocked all levels, but it was theorized where, what the heck, how do we do this? But recently it was figured out. Thanks to Anvar, which is the person who found out about this. Because not a lot of people have actually known about these. And this was discovered around a month ago, I want to say. And
Sounds about right.
What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to new game. Very simple, but I'm going to go to the map screen just to show off all levels are locked. So yeah, we did Pack Village, but I'm going to show that all the levels are locked.
And you've got a 0 score.
Yeah, so every level is locked. I only have bare basics in Pack Village. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into Pack Village. I'm going to go to this platform here. I'm going to go, and I think it's, I'm going to pause and press, I think it's LRLZ. Cheat, all levels open. So these are the in-game cheat codes that were recently discovered. And no one knew about them until years after the game was released.
It's actually amazing that it just no one was aware of it.
Yeah, and ta-da, everything's unlocked.
Yep, you can also give yourself tokens, you can give yourself extra lives.
Yeah, you can give yourself tokens, extra lives, and everything, so... Yeah, we just go ahead and Spooky kill him, but yeah.
Very cool.
Pac-Man World 2.
Yeah, thank you for sharing Pac-Man World 2 with us. We're going to take a very short break, and then we'll be right back with Nacho Brado doing Pac-Man World Rally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the run.
Welcome back to GDQ Hotfix, everyone. I'm Author Blues, and we're still here with the Pac-Man 40th Anniversary Show. For those of you who have been sticking around all night from Tetris into Pac-Man, thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a great show so far. We just finished up both Pac-Man Worlds. We already saw Pac-Man Arrangement, and now we are here with Pac-Man World Rally with the All Tracks run by Nacho Brado. You've seen him here pretty much all night on commentary. Now we're going to actually see his run. Before we do that, I do want to remind everyone that Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your bits and subscriptions, so please consider subscribing to support future broadcasts just like this one. They're possible thanks to your support. And don't forget that if you have Amazon Prime, you can link your Twitch account to subscribe for free. And with that out of the way, I'm going to throw it over to Nacho Brado.
Alrighty. Welcome everybody, this is Pac-Man World Rally. Probably just gonna go ahead and just jump right into it. This is just all the derby track. We use Pac-Man, which is fastest character. You probably saw him when Joester defeated him in World 1. Time is gonna be in 3, 2, 1, go. So first we have Cloud Garden. I'm just gonna do all these in normal track order, just for simplicity's sake. You can get a starting boost there. Go ahead.
You can start on any race you want, but after that you have to do it in order. So we usually start with the hardest race. Not this time. Also, with this run, we usually go by in-game time, where we just add up the time we got for each race, so load times aren't an issue. And I'm going to actually be, if I can remember and keep up with that, I'm going to be adding up notches in-game time while...
Also, if chat wants to count how many blue bombs I get. Blue bombs are like the equivalent of blue shells from Mario Kart.
They seem a lot more frequent.
Yeah.
Especially in this level, it can be very bad. I've gotten like 8 blue bombs in one race.
Wow. Yeah, it just seems like you keep getting stopped over and over, so...
Yeah, certain levels have varying degrees of RNG. This level is definitely one of, if not the worst for RNG, which makes grinding the IL of this category not fun at all.
Yeah, but I was able to stop it once. I had a what you call a Pac-Mobile, and what that does is it gives me max stats, I think, for 8 seconds, and turns everybody else into a blue ghost, and we can actually eat them and stop them in their tracks for a few seconds. One of the little quirky things that this game does to try to stand out from other kart racing games. It's also
So Go
ahead.
I was just going to ask if the power-up distribution is kind of skewed like it is in some other kart racer games where, you know, you kind of get not particularly useful things when you're in front, but last place gets a lot of stuff to mess with you.
Yeah. Yeah, like all the AI is getting blue bombs. They'll also get trying to think where there's some other ones. There's a lightning cloud that'll basically slow everybody down for a little bit of time. You can block it with a guardian though. That's another one of the different things about this game is the guardian system. Every time you drift, a little meter goes up. And get enough of that, you get a guardian, and it'll actually block you from any attack. It can stop a blue bomb.
Use the guardian.
Well, it technically can, but you have to use it before the blue bomb shows up. Otherwise, it just won't work.
So this track is the first.
Go ahead.
The first track to have a skip. By skipping past the death plane, we can actually die in another death plane that sets our checkpoint about halfway through the race.
Well, about that.
Yeah, it's definitely... Since you start with the hardest race in the game, you end up doing this race pretty late, and it can be kind of nerve-wracking, because something can go wrong fairly easily, and if you get blue bombed while trying to do the skip, then you can't do it, and you only get one shot at the skip. Each lap, that is.
Yeah, I was actually trying to get enough for a guardian right before it, but I think I overshot. So I'm gonna risk it here. There we go. Oh, wait, no! No, what was an invisible wall, game? Okay. We can take the intended shortcut instead.
Yeah, typically shortcuts that are ramps are usually slower because airtime in this game is slower than ground speed.
Yeah. In that case, though, I didn't want to have to deal with the donuts.
Yeah.
It's like visually obvious how much slower you are in midair. That seems like such a strange choice for a racing game.
Yeah, especially considering 2 of the shortcuts in this game are ramps. I guess the purpose of those was you do get the green item boxes, which give you 3 items instead of just 1. So maybe that's what they were going for. Is like you
Sure.
get better items, the shortcuts. But usually the shortcuts aren't an issue. There's only one race in the entire game that airtime actually mattered. Well, 2, I guess, but for different reasons.
Yeah, also, the physics in this game are very bouncy, as you've seen. Like, I tried to go for the skip on the last lap there, and I just completely just bounced off of it instead.
And as Rolling Hills, which has one of the best songs in the game. I'd probably say my second favorite song in the game.
It's pretty good. It's really jazzy. So I guess the main movement tech I'm kind of doing here, I'm constantly drifting. What I want to do is get as many of these little mini turbos as I can, since that obviously is a faster movement. Also, on this particular track, those pack dots that were back there, I can't miss a single one if I want a Pac-Mobile by lap 3. Or middle of lap 2, I think.
Yeah, I think. This level also is a bit difficult with the shortcut because there's only those 2 cherries at the end are the only 2 cherries in the entire race. So if you miss one, or if you lap everyone and the person in front of you gets it, then you can't get the shortcut. They actually added 2 extra cherries in the PSP version of this game.
They're so nice.
Which the PSP version of this game is slower because there's a couple of tricks. Well, there's one skip that doesn't work on PSP, and then the others are a bit more tricky on PSP. But there's also an entirely extra race on the PSP version, which is not a particularly fun race. I really don't like that race.
Yeah, it's arguably the longest track that the game has to offer. But
Yeah, I think it's even longer than Galactic Outpost. I don't even know if that's the longest race.
I think Spooky's Castle is technically the longest, I think.
Yeah, I just always think Galactic Outpost is the longest because since we skip it,
Yeah, which
You know,
will be fun to show.
I never know how long it actually is.
Yeah, and I think it's glitchless. I think almost 3 minutes. And I think Spooky's Castle is roughly 3:45 on average. All right, next up we got Ghost Mansion.
Yeah, so this is the level I was talking about earlier where airtime actually matters. Pretty soon at the beginning of this race, there's going to be a couple ramps that, depending on where you jump on the ramp, gives you different heights. If you jump way too early, you'll just go down into that dirt, which makes you slower. If you go about in the middle, you get about mid-height like Nacho just got there, but if you go too late, you'll get a lot of height, which is slower because airtime is slow in this game.
Yeah, so the main gimmick of this one is I just want to stick tight to these walls as much as I can.
Yeah, and me and Nacho are very competitive in this game. We've traded off the record quite a few times in the past few years, but this level really goes to show how much better Nacho's movement is, considering he has multiple times beaten this race in under 3 minutes, whereas I've never beaten this race in under 3 minutes.
Yeah, of course that blue bomb doesn't help my case.
Also, this shortcut right here is actually shorter on the PSP version. Like, instead of going around that turn to that ramp, it's just that ramp. Also, the spider cannot hurt you, no matter what. It looks like it can, but it can't. And there's an obstacle later on that looks like it can't hurt you, but can.
I'm trying to remember which one that is.
Spooky's Castle.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. There we go. That's what I wanted to do at the top of that staircase there.
Also, something kind of interesting is you can see the portraits of some of the ghosts on the wall in this mansion. And they actually... I have the demo disc of this game that came with a PlayStation Magazine. And they changed some of the portraits from the demo to the actual game, and I don't know why. Like, it's such an odd thing to change.
It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Also, since it was brought up in World 2, I believe the first game to mix the names of Blinky and Clyde was Arrangement. I'm not entirely sure about that. But it was definitely swapped for World 2 and 3, and this was the first game that they swapped them back. So in this game, the red ghost is Blinky and the orange ghost is Clyde. Also, I'm not entirely sure if this is correct, but I believe that in this game, the ghosts are based on the really old Pac-Man cartoon. Could be wrong on that. I've only seen one episode of that show, and it was pretty great, I gotta say. So this is Canyon Crusade. This has my favorite song in the game. I just really like the acoustic nature of it. There's also a skip in this race. I'm not sure if Nacho's going to go for it.
Is that the shortcut skip?
Yes.
Is it for lap 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. So basically, what we can do is on the wall right next to the shortcut, we can boost into the wall and bounce off of it and clip into the shortcut, so we can get the shortcut on all 3 laps instead of only laps 2 and 3. But we will be seeing something similar to that later in the run. This is also the other race that I mentioned, that airtime matters, but only if you get bad RNG. In my current PB, which was the previous record until Nacho beat it not too long ago, I got blue bombed in midair, which is the worst thing you want to happen, because if you get blue bombed in the air, you have to fall down very slowly, and you void out. And I think Canyon Crusade seems to have one of the longest falls before you get to a death plane, so...
Yeah, I think the very last jump has that.
Yeah, so my PB loses 10 seconds to this race because of a bad blue bomb. Which
I did know that.
Usually blue bombs are not that bad. I mean, unless you get like 8 on Cloud Garden, then they can be that bad, but... Yeah, that was one of the worst blue bombs you can get.
Yeah. So in this track only, that corner I just did, for some reason, there's just a weird enough bump where you get like a phantom boost while you're drifting. I don't know what causes it, but it's basically just a nice free little boost.
Yeah, and the thing about getting jump boosts in this game is, unlike some games where you can only get jump boosts off of certain ramps, this game, as long as you get enough height, you can get a jump boost. So you'll see Nacho jumping in seemingly random places to try and get a jump boost. Like,
yeah, I was really trying to do that in rolling hills over
Yeah.
the bump of the pack ducks.
Yeah, that one in specific is one of the more tricky ones to do, but I mean, all you're doing is pressing whatever your jump button is, so it's totally worth going for.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna do my normal strat there. What I do on laps 1 and 2 off that ramp is stick on the right side and don't activate the boost. And then I was mashing jump as I landed to get a boost to go like further in. But then the third lap I didn't, obviously.
All right, so before a lot of the skips in this game were found, this used to be the hardest level in the game, and this was the race everyone started on. Well, at least I did. I don't know about other people. And the main reason this race is hard is because of cycles. You'll see coming up right here, you have to deal with ice physics right here and these penguin cycles. Although we're actually playing on the quick race mode, which lets you do every race in order from the one you chose all the way back around. Whereas we used to play on circuit mode, which was every cup, which would have menuing in the middle. And if we were playing on circuit mode, the penguin cycle would have been different, and we would have gotten a much worse penguin cycle.
Yeah, for some reason the alternate sides are just, there's 2 penguins on one side and 1 penguin on the other, and the 2 start on the side you come in at. Oh no! Nice physics.
Yeah, so that turn with those penguins, that's really what made this level hard.
Yeah, you have to have such a precise angle with your drift.
This was actually the race that really determined me getting the record way back in 2015 when I first took the record.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess since a little bit of downtime here, the history of this game kind of goes, just to put it very simply, Roos did the first run ever, and then Daxon started running and steadily improved his time. I took the record. Daxon took it back 6 days later. And then Nacho took it and held it for, what, like 2.5, 3.5 years? Something like that. Until I finally built up my skill to where I could compete again, and then we've traded off the record back and forth. About...
Yeah, I think the last time you held it, I think you took it, you kept it for about 1.5 years, I believe.
Yeah,
I took it back.
Yeah, I took it in August 2018, and you took it back just recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe because of a really dumb skip that I'm gonna attempt later.
Oh yeah.
Also, nice double blue bomb. Triple blue bomb. Quadruple blue bomb. Alright, game, calm down. He's just guarding for the end, dude. Alright, we're clear. Whew. That's all I need to see it go by there at the end.
Yeah, I guess one thing to mention is if you are ever in first and you have a blue bomb, don't use it.
Yeah, it'll just come right back at you.
I actually wonder, is the reason sometimes you can get like 2 or 3 blue bombs in a row, is that because of the green boxes? Can you get 3 blue bombs in a green box?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
That might be why. I've always thought that the blue bombs being as common as they are was just like some sort of programming error, because like there's no way that there should be that many.
Right. So this track, so we pick the fastest character, which in turn has the worst turning and acceleration. The really bad turning really showcases here, because it's nothing but right angles.
Yeah, this is one of 2 races that have very tight turns.
Yeah, that middle section in particular is very brutal with Pac-Man.
Yeah, some people prefer to play as Spooky, who is the second fastest character, but has much better handling. Most people at top level don't, because Spooky's a lot harder to do another skip later with. But I don't like playing as Spooky because I played as Pac-Man for so long that I can't get used to Spooky.
Yeah.
Viper asked in chat, are item probabilities different for CPUs and players?
I'm not sure. I would not know.
Yeah, that is a question I would love to see answered, though.
Yeah, kart racers have a tendency of doing stuff like that. I mean, the original Super Mario Kart did something like that. They cheated. Rather than having other characters be able to actually pick up items, everyone was just coded to have one item they could use.
Yeah, it would seem... it would seem like that CPUs can get different items from players, because even if you're not in first, you don't really get blue bombs that often. The CPUs get them all the time. Yeah, now we go to one of the more interesting tracks in the run, but you probably won't see any of the interesting stuff. This track was theorized that a skip could be possible for many years, based on another skip that we'll see later. But it wasn't until on one of Nacho's ILs. Well, I guess we have to go back a bit further than that. One day I was just playing, and all of a sudden I started flying. And so I had to find out what exactly lets you be able to do that. It turns out there is a water plane, and the water plane kind of extends onto land, so you can drive to a certain piece of land and see the splash effect, even though you haven't entered the water. Entering that puts you in that state to where if you jump, you can start to fly for a little bit, and adding a boost to that lets you get a lot more distance. And then one day, someone by the name of, I believe it was Edward SW, posted a comment on one of Nacho's ILs for this race, saying that he had found a skip. But I couldn't figure it out at first, because to be honest, I misread his comment, and but when I reread it and then figured it out, we were able to find out that Pirate Cove skip is possible. It is just very inconsistent. I believe, other than Edward, I'm still the only person that's ever done it. I don't know if you have, Nacho.
I have never successfully done it, no.
Yeah, because what you have to do is you have to get the drift boost and run into a certain death plane, and that will set your trigger to before the lap, or your spawn to before the lap, which will skip the entire race. But if you don't hit the exact right spot, the game will detect that you have not passed certain triggers and will not let you, it won't count the lap. Which makes it kind of very worrying, because that means potentially, I think when you're voiding out, you still have a hitbox that can hit those certain planes that will let you not get the skip. So it'd be very hard to actually find a setup that works for that skip. But yeah, now we get to, if a skip is done right, the shortest level in the run.
Yeah, chance of that happening, though.
This is probably the most interesting race in the entire game, I would say. All right. Yeah, so what Nacho's going to do is he's going to try bouncing off of this wall.
I'll try it one more time. Oh, it was right there. Okay, one more time. Okay, never mind. it's super inconsistent.
What he wanted to do was he wanted to bounce into that wall, and that would bounce him up to where he could go behind the lap. And if he were to hit in the right way, he would actually, you can actually hit the lap trigger twice. So in one bounce, you can do 2 laps.
I can do that skip though.
So the fastest IL for this race, getting bouncing from the wall and getting 2 double lap triggers, the fastest IL for this race is about 16 seconds, making it the shortest race in the game.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers how fast this level can be.
But it is very inconsistent, not only because it's getting the bounce fairly difficult, but sometimes you just, it's not really known like where exactly do you have to hit to get the double lap trigger. So sometimes you can get behind the lap but not get the double lap, and sometimes not even get a lap at all.
Yeah,
this level is very interesting in how all the skips came to be, because that turn skip notch is but then at some point I actually accidentally found that you can clip through certain gates. The first level I found it on was Retro Maze, which is useless in Retro Maze because of how those shortcuts work. But I found you can also do it in Winding Wetlands. You can clip through that grape gate.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, nope, there it is. That was the double lap trigger when it ended the race right in the middle of his jump. That is the double lap trigger. But yeah, so I found you can clip through that gate, and it wasn't consistent at all, so no one used it, because you'd have to get it pretty fast for it to be faster. And then later I found a time trial skip where you would go into a corner and use a booster, and it would push you about halfway through the race. And then I found you could bounce on a wall and get that skip. So you could bounce on a wall, skip half the race, and then bounce on another wall to skip to the end of the race. And then Daxon found that you could just skip all the way behind the race and get the double lap. Now, so Winding Wetlands is the hardest race in the game. So we start on Winding Wetlands, and I would say Talkman's Factory is probably...
What? That's good.
Aside from if you fail some skips, I would say Talkman's Factory is the second hardest race. Sometimes if you, after much resetting and finally getting a good Winding Wetlands, Talkman's Factory will not hesitate to destroy your run.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised I didn't see a single blue bomb the first lap. But now that I say that, I'm going to get like 5.
Not only can Blue Bomb RNG just be bad here, but you always start in 8th place.
Oh, here it comes.
Sometimes, I guess since the item boxes are so close, people can get items before you can get ahead of them. And if someone has an item behind them and you touch that item, you will get hit. Those items still have a hitbox. So, and with the saw and crusher cycles, if you're not prepared, it can be a very intense level.
Yeah, so intense that almost maybe you missed the watermelon shortcut.
Yeah, a fun fact about that kind of lava room with the watermelon shortcut activator is if you're doing the time trial for this race or the Rally Cup, which is 1 lap of every race, since you don't need shortcuts in those two categories, you can actually do a skip where you jump around that turn. But since you need the watermelon activator and then use the shortcut on the other two laps, you don't see it in this category. Which I think
because it's kind of finicky.
I think at this point that's the only strat that's not in this category. Because all the other winding wetland skip. Because all the other winding wetland skips, now every category just uses the normal one.
Yeah, also the AI can also activate their own packages.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. It's mostly on Talkman's Factory and Retro Maze.
Yeah, just because of the sheer amount of pack dots available. On the Funhouse of Terror, there's a saying for this track, and it's always go left. And you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, this also used to be one of the most difficult races. So here we have the box. Just a big square that you drift around. And you can actually clip through these walls, but you'd have to get it very quickly for it to be faster, and I don't think it's consistent enough to be faster. But yeah, so here we're going to the left, and we're going to drift for Guardian, so we can go through this fire, which normally you would have to... Normally those are the shortcuts, is deactivating that fire. So the other side, if you go to the right, there are two paths on the right. The top right is the easiest path, but is the longest path. Bottom right is the hardest path, but is faster than top right. And then the left is pretty much, I guess, well, they want you to use the shortcuts for the left, but since we can just use Guardians, it makes the left path the fastest. In fact, when I first started running this game, we actually, I guess we didn't know that you could use Guardians for those shortcuts, so we would just always go top right, because it was the easiest, until about the time I first took the record in 2015. We started going bottom right until I found that it was faster, or no, maybe it's Daxon I found it was faster to go left. Although one thing is when we started using in-game time, we timed all the other runs in-game time, and it turns out that a runner by the name of Ethmar actually did have a faster in-game time and would have been world record had we been going by in-game time the whole time, and he actually went left on Funhouse.
Ah.
But yeah, and this is a great shortcut. It's a big spiral.
Yeah, I actually would have taken this laps 2 and 3 as well. I missed the grape. I missed the grape switch the first lap, and then missed the grape in general the second lap.
Yeah, the spiral's not necessarily faster than the box, but you don't have to worry about the platforms disappearing under you. But it's mostly a matter of preference. I find it easier to drift through the box. The Nacho prefers the spiral, so it's just down to what you prefer.
Yeah, also nice wrong way drift at the end there. That was pretty epic.
All right, now the last track of the Watermelon Cup, Spooky's Castle.
Yeah, this is by far the longest track in the run.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily as hard as Tuckman's Factory, and there's not as much risk of losing a ton of time as like Molten Mountain, but I find this to be one of the scariest tracks, mostly because of this room with these knights, because the screen shakes every time they hit.
Yeah, it can get really dizzying.
Yeah, so I've never been a big fan of this race.
That arrow actually hit me. I'm surprised.
But yeah, this dragon's tail right here can actually hit you and kill you. It's very rare. I think it's only ever happened to me once, but it's very frustrating if it happens because it doesn't look like it should be able to happen. But of course, the spider in Ghost Mansion can't hurt you.
Yeah, some odd logic there, huh?
Yeah, in that last room with that wizard guy, you can actually, by using a booster, if you get into a corner and use a booster, you'll bounce up super high. And if you use a booster to bounce up super high and then another booster to go forward, you can actually flip out of bounds in that room. There's no reason to do it. It's not faster, because then you can't get back out easily. But it's a cool thing. Also, this watermelon shortcut is the only shortcut in the entire game that you can get on the same lap you activated on. As you can see, Nacho got it right there in the cherry shortcut. No other shortcut can you activate on the same lap, or can you get it same lap you activated on, unless if you go backwards, but that's slower. Which actually is something interesting I can talk about is there is a co-op category for this game where you would play in two-player versus mode, which in two-player versus mode, it's just you and your opponent, no AI or anything. One of the strats you can do is have one person do the race normally, and in a couple races like Talkman's Factory and Cloud Garden, have the other person go backwards to activate the shortcut on lap 1.
Fast race.
Although the only run that's ever done a co-op is very outdated at this point. It doesn't use Winding Wetland skip, or Molten Mountain skip for that matter, so...
Oh, is it that old?
Yeah, it can be improved, but you can't do it on the PC version, and I no longer own a console copy of this game, so I can't do a run, but...
No, I got squished. That maybe missed a grape. Oh, no. Aw. This is like a good spooky castle, too. Yeah, I can't go left right now.
I mean, hopefully one day we can meet up and actually do a co-op run.
Oh, that's
get that
sick.
free world record.
Yeah.
And then for once we both hold the record instead of fighting for it.
I can't even get that. 35, that's not bad.
Yeah, now we
I
are
think
on
getting the watermelon kind of helped there on second lap. So this track is really fun. It looks really cool. It's all space themed and stuff.
Yeah, but they removed the moon having a face from the demo. I don't know, or from the trailer. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like looking at it. I'm gonna go this way instead.
Yeah. So what we're doing here is we're going backwards to set our checkpoint, and then we're going on the inside of this ring to not set a new checkpoint. And then we're gonna die, so the game assumes instead of going backwards, we went all the way around the race and ended up back there. So what we used to do is we would actually do lap 1 normally, set up the skip, and then skip lap 2 and 3. Ooh.
I screwed it up. Yeah, if you spawn up there on the branching path, that means you did not get it correctly. So I gotta go back and do it again.
But yeah, we used to go on lap 1, set up the skip, and then do laps 2 and skip laps 2 and 3. But one day I thought, why not just go backwards? And turns out that works. Which it was the shortest race for the longest time until Winding Wetland skip was found. It's still the second shortest race in the game. But this next race is the shortest race if you're not counting skips.
Yes, that's also very technical because you have all these spiky balls running around.
Yeah, but
Very
I'd also
categorical.
say I might say this is actually my favorite race in the game. It's a really good race. Because if
It
you
is fun to grind, that's for sure.
yeah, if you get it right and get no blue bombs, then spoke too soon. If you get no blue bombs and don't get crushed by anything, it's a very fast track. We are playing currently on the PC version for the fastest loads and
This
best
is actually
frame
the
rate.
EP version.
Oh, I did not realize.
Yeah, I couldn't get audio splitting to work.
Oh
so-
yeah, I should have seen by the X button near the Guardians. But yeah, so this is the GameCube version. Most people play on PC for the fastest loads, but since we go by in-game time, console is totally viable. Since you don't have to worry about loads. In fact, when I first started running this game, we didn't use in-game time, and I was playing on the PS2 version, so I could not get the world record because I had such long loads. Until we found out PC was faster, and I got the PC version and took the record, and then lost it for 3 years,
Oh dang.
and then lost it again. So
So we're on the last track, Retro Maze. It's literally a giant maze.
yeah, this is the other race that's full of 90-degree turns. Here's the worst part of the race, in my opinion, where you have to go backwards and dodge this giant Clyde to activate the watermelon shortcut. I've never liked that part.
Yeah, that's such a weird design choice. They did that.
I'm not the biggest fan of this race in general for a few reasons.
Nope, I'm going back for that.
Yeah,
safety with time.
That's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of this track is you have to activate the shortcuts and get the fruit like while you're boosting from a turn, so it can actually be pretty easy to miss them, especially with things like this grape. If you're using the watermelon shortcut, you only have one chance to get the grape, so if you miss it, then that's just it.
Yeah, the optimal way we do it is we unlock all the switches first lap, then we get a cherry and melon for second lap, and then we have all three for the last lap.
Yeah, you can't do the grape shortcut on lap 2 because there are only 2 grapes in the race. One is right beside the watermelon shortcut, so you don't get that because you do the watermelon shortcut, and then the other is beside the grape shortcut, so you can't use the grape shortcut because you already passed it. But yeah, final lap.
We're almost done.
Time is on finishing this race.
Yep, as soon as it crosses the finish line.
Cool.
Yeah, using the like getting extra height from using a booster in a corner, you can actually get on top of Retro Maze. It doesn't skip anything, unfortunately, but it's pretty cool.
Alright, because I have it, I am going to use this Pac-Man at the very end. And time.
GG. Let's see, your in-game time was 37 minutes, 52 seconds, and 92 milliseconds.
Nice.
Well done. That's a cool racing
Thanks.
game. It's a little different than a lot of the other kart racers, so it's kind of cool to see those differences.
Yeah, the physics
Yeah.
in this game are not what you would expect from a racing game.
No, some of it's very counterintuitive, which I guess in some cases can make for a pretty interesting speedrun, figuring out how to work within those constraints.
Yeah, I would honestly say this is my second favorite racing game, and I'm a huge racing game fan.
Same.
There's such natural speedruns already, so.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, well,
All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nacho Brado, for that awesome run. Rawlis, thank you so much for the great commentary. We're going to be taking just a really quick break, and we'll be back in a moment with Pack and Roll.
See you guys.
Welcome back, everybody, to the last run of the night for GDQ Hotfix. I'm Author Blues, and I've been hosting this Pac-Man 40th anniversary show we've been doing here. We've been treated to a lot of really awesome runs. We could have just done some of the arcade games, but we've done a nice variety. We started with a arcade homage, and we're wrapping up with an arcade homage, I would say. We've seen Pac-Man World, Pac-Man World 2. We just got done seeing Pac-Man World Rally, and now we have Pack and Roll Remix. Before we jump into Pack and Roll Remix, I do just want to remind you of a few things. We do have a new show premiering tomorrow on Hotfix called Tina's RPG Show, I guess. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be starting with Final Fantasy IV by Brosencho, which should be really interesting to watch. If you haven't been keeping up with the rescheduling of SGDQ, the new dates, you can find out all that information on gamesdonequick.com. That includes when the actual event is going to be taking place. That includes when the games list is going to be coming out. All the information that you need for SGDQ and future events is going to be posted there on gamesdonequick.com. So definitely make sure that you're checking that out. We also have a community spotlight episode coming up this Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is going to be Final Fantasy Tactics, a favorite of mine. So definitely make sure that you're here to check that out. That's 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday with our community spotlight show, actually hosted by Railcoon, who's actually here doing tech for us. So thank you so much for all of your support during the show, during all of our shows. These shows are possible thanks to your bits and subscriptions. And if you enjoy this show and other broadcasts, please consider subscribing to support them. Don't forget that if you do have Amazon Prime and you're not using your Twitch Prime subscription, you can actually link your Twitch account to subscribe for free to this channel or any channel. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Super Viper T.
All right. So hello, everybody. I am Super Viper T302. In case for those of you who don't know, my username is reference primarily. And this is Pack and Roll Remix. This is not a standalone game. It is part of the Namco Museum Remix and Namco Museum Megamix compilations for the Wii. In case you're wondering, I'm playing it on Megamix. And you probably are also familiar with the fact that this is a revamp of a DS game called Pack and Roll, released in 2005. And it has less content and not really a story mode, but the graphics and physics are like 10,000 times better. And also, nothing changes in the base game after you've completed this. As you can see, the levels are already unlocked, but we're still going to be playing all of them. So this is sort of any percent NG+, but this is sort of the game. So we're ready to get started. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm joined by Elomavi, who tasked this game, and Joester98, who is one of the only other players who's ever run this game. Sorry. So sort of the main agenda in each of these levels is you roll around as a limbless Pac-Man. The story in this game is way too complicated to get into the stream, but or at least the story of the DS version. You basically collect the Pac dots to open these goalless gates and get to the goal at the end of each. For the most part, this is just kind of the basis of it. Like the fastest Pac dots to open. And the main move attack is just shaking the Wii remote to get this boost of speed that propels you in one direction. There's a lot of subtleties to the movement, so Elo, do you want to some of this tech on how the boosting works?
Yeah, sure. So whenever you shake your Wii remote, you will boost in the direction that you are holding. And there's also braking in this game by pressing the B button. And whenever you brake, you will stop all momentum gradually. But while you're braking, you can still shake in a direction. So in the task that I created, you can go in a direction, brake for a frame, and then shake to go in a different direction. And it has the mobility to be useful in almost every scenario in the game. But obviously, shaking is really risky. You do move really quickly when you boost, so it's a bit too risky to be quite RTA viable. But yeah, Super Viper T will still boost where he can.
And braking is also a useful mechanic. As you can see, I brake whenever I boost into these boxes, and that sort of keeps Pac-Man from recoiling and flying all over the place. And you'll be seeing me use that technique a lot whenever I want to keep Pac-Man from falling off the ledge. And you kind of saw me wait at the goal platform there. If you update a score of any kind, update your life count, or update a personal best, or beat an IL time, the game will take about 4.5 seconds to autosave if you have that turned on, which I do. And that wastes time, so I'll try to avoid that as much as possible. And this is Night Pack. He basically is a heavier version of normal Pack that can break metal boxes and can one. He's slower to use in most instances, but in levels like this, we have to.
Yep, that's correct. He's also immune to the arrows, so he won't get damaged by them. Oh well.
So, in this level, you're actually supposed to be introduced to Light Pack, which is the broken power-up of the game, but I'm actually going to be skipping it because skipping it will allow me to make a slightly faster platform cycle at the end, which saves about 8 seconds for RTA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Light Pack is super floaty in the air, so you'll fall a little more slowly with them, which is extremely advantageous in a number of situations, as you'll see, but not necessarily here.
And my...
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, why is he going off the edge?
Uh-oh. We have some technical problems.
Alright, Super Viper T will be back. Alright, he got Light Pack this time. He's probably going for a little bit safer strat with this.
Yeah, I think something happened to Viper on Discord, but we're still here commentating, and he's still doing the run, so I think we're okay right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so since he died there, that's why you got the save menu.
Alright. So currently he's getting the Night Pack power-up to head underwater, and the reason he's going underwater is to get this power-up, which will allow us to skip the Gova's Gate in this level by doing a precise jump. Not this one, but this one coming up. Nicely done by Super Viper T. It's actually pretty difficult.
Yeah, when you have the Light Pack and you're grabbing an edge and you, I believe it's Shake, it's been a while I haven't played, you jump off the ledge and get a little height, and since the Light Pack is super floaty, you can use that to your advantage and just go right to the end platform there instead of going all the way around.
That is correct. Alright, so in the test of this game, it is actually possible to skip this gate with a really precise dash in the gutter-ish area down below. But again, really precise, so we prefer to just get Wing Pack and do things the safe way.
I guess another thing to mention is if you play through this game, there are some levels have pizzas, and if you get a pizza, it'll actually increase your maximum health, but it won't go away. But you'll
Discord
keep it
just randomly threw me out of the voice channel for whatever reason.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Did you mention how this level is the biggest cheese in the game?
Oh yeah, the finish to this level is right behind the start. And you can't get it. It's very annoying. This level is pretty long. So.
Yeah. Another thing is that did you bring up how there's a gate skip that's technically possible in 2-2, Milo?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's pretty much task only.
Yeah, and I was just bringing up the fact that certain levels have pizzas that increase your max health, and those will stay on the game, whatever you play. And the only way to start the game with base health again is to just delete the memory off your console, which is super obnoxious to do every time you're going to do a run. So runs start with usually max health, as well as having good IL time, so that if you you won't get the save screen at the end of the level in your run for beating IL time.
So this is kind of the first boss level of the game against Gaul. This is the antagonist of the original TS game. Basically, you just eat 3 power pellets and you're invulnerable. And the power pellets always spawn in the same spot, so I know who to go for. for RTA purposes, it is better to wait at each third power pellet so that you don't have to spend time chasing down. But since Task can boost like a madman, you can just kind of get all 3 power pellets instantly, regardless of. And I grabbed Metal Pack there so I can make it easier to get the first power pellet, and then I also can break a metal box that's in my way, and that mistake doesn't matter because I have to wait for all this here anyways. And that's the first boss fight. So now we're getting to the part of the run.
Alright, in the room again.
We lost him again. I suppose I should mention that there is a reason that we get the pizzas for New Game Quests. It'll come up later in World 4. Look forward to that, sure. Okay, well right now he is getting the pack dots on this little auto-scroller thing. He's going to save time by depositing the pack dots into that gate. Yeah, the pack dots are really far apart from each other in this map, so it is actually faster to be on that little vehicle type thing and get pack dots that way.
Yeah, the amount of dots in this first room also is pretty tight. Like you have to get almost all of them to be able to progress here. I don't think you have to get every single one, but you have to get most of them.
And yep, he made the cycle, so it's good.
And then again, he's using the light pack and grabbing the ledges to just jump between platforms here. So he doesn't have to wait on the cart, and then he can catch the other cart on its way back. He doesn't need every dot here either, but he'll be getting most of them as well.
Alright, that's a really good 3-1 from Super Viper.
Yeah,
he's
I
back
am
for real
so
now.
sorry for all these tech issues. I swear I have no idea what's causing this.
Sorry, we got the commentary on that down a little bit.
Yeah, you're good.
This level is interesting because there's multiple different ways you can kind of go about the beginning of it, but this is just kind of the best method I've come for RTA. You can actually skip getting Night Pack in this first section entirely, but you do need some underwater pack dots, and there is a technique where you can have Pac-Man sink underwater with downwards momentum and grab pack dots without Night Pack. And you can also inch past that normal pack card and skip having to eat a ghost in this next section, but normal pack just moves so much faster, where it's worth it to go ahead and use ghost and waste some time doing that. Because this section is kind of cycle-based, although I would... So 3-3 is the level where, provided I play this level roughly the same way every time, I'll get roughly the same in-game time. Because this level is actually very cycle-based, and the cycles for the most part are really easy to make. But obviously the task skips like 3 cycles. And in case you're wondering why I can't like ledge grab hop around the Golbus gates, most Golbus gates have invisible walls surrounding both sides of them, but in this level, if you try to jump around the gates, there's actually wind that pushes you back and prevents you from making it all the way across.
Yeah,
and there's one other level in this game that...
There's the one in World 4 that you totally could hop around, that it won't let you.
But there are some gate skips in World 4 that are possible.
Yeah,
this level's mostly just about... Sorry, keep going.
Oh, okay, no, it's okay. Yeah, the Golbus Gate's hitbox is actually really big. So it goes pretty far to the side, and it extends upward, not infinitely, but like really high up. That's basically impossible to go over it directly.
So 3-4 is an interesting level because it is the one level where I'm going to have to be really stingy about collecting pack dots. For RTA purposes specifically, because I am going to be doing a bit of a use in this level. There is an auto-scrolling roller coaster at the very end of the level that I have to take. There is no way to skip it, but if I die once I reach the number of pack dots I need to open the final gate, then I'll spawn back at the checkpoint with all pack dots in my hand. So to maximize time save for that, I want to make sure I don't miss any pack dots. But if I miss one, it's not worth it to go back and get it, because that would just waste me. It's really just about going through the level with the fastest getting it. So far, I haven't been. Speak double, I just missed one. That's very minimal. Awesome, I'm moving into level good. So this is the roller coaster question. Again, no way to skip this. This level is a bit of a nightmare because if you miss a pack dot on this roller coaster and you're going for every pack dot, you have to do this entire roller coaster. Also, this is literally the only instance of downtime in this entire run, except for like one unskipped cutscene.
This game has such a great style to it.
It's like a 3D platformer, but without the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It kind of feels a little bit like.
Oh, wait.
It kind of feels like it's got some of the style of like some of the early 3D Sonic games, but like in a good way, not like them.
It also needs to send a huge love letter to us.
Yeah, I can see that.
So this is the scariest boss level in the game. I wouldn't call it the hardest, but it is the scariest. It's super easy to fall off and die here, and with the movement required to go optimally fast, you're cutting it very close.
I would personally say that this is the hardest boss in the game, actually, but...
I mistimed when I was supposed to move after grabbing that power pellet, so I wasn't able to. I had to play it safe because Golbus can just knock you off a little hesitant, and if you die in a boss fight, you have to redo the entire fight. And here, I eat the power pellets at specific times to keep Golbus stunned, so that he doesn't like come after me. So now we're moving on to. So there's a world from the DS version that's omitted in this game. So we skip over the Ghostland world and go straight to Flaming Fortress. So in this first level, I want to give a shout out to Pinball Wiz 45B, another member of the Pac-Man community. This first level is pretty much Pac-Man pinball on steroids. It's actually terrible.
Yeah, that first room is super obnoxious. You just bounce back and forth repeatedly, and the same goes for every other room in this level.
You also need every dot to open every gate in this level, so it's even more obnoxious. And what makes this level terrible for RTA is that there's a platform cycle that after this gate that wastes about 3.5 seconds if you miss it, and I just barely made it. And you can miss it without really having much of a say in what happens. And this is a level where we have theorized gate skips for, but none of them are possible. Unfortunately, you can get on some level geometry.
Yeah, but you have to hit that button there, which knocks all the walls down and just lets you get to the end.
This level is pretty straightforward for RTA. It just has a lot of obstacles, so there is going to be a bit of damage use to get through in this section. This level is another level with gate skips that are possible in tasks. But the reason why they will probably never be implemented into RTA is because they save minimal time. Because all you're really doing is skipping having to go out of your way to get pack dots. And if you fail them, you die. So.
Yeah, it's high risk, low reward, so it definitely isn't worth it.
Like right here, if you have life hack, you can slip this on a very weird piece of collision to just barely get behind this game. And even the invisible wind and invisible walls make it barely possible. I've never pulled. And then this last gate can also be skipped, but it's arguably worse. Is that enough pack dots? Good. So here's a level I want to give a shout out to Joester for, because he found you could do this.
Wait, I actually found something in this game? I don't remember this.
Yeah, you found those boosts across those platforms. It doesn't really save any time, though, because I'm bound by this platform cycle, but it's a lot easier.
Well, it's clearly useless then, if it doesn't save any time.
Yeah, but I've been using it. It's one of two actually. It's actually technically one of three. I have not optimized this game on mine. I have had. This is one of my favorite parts of the run. Guys, that entire sequence there, it's just super cool. And I love pointing out that optimization where you boost to that second bounce pad, because it took me so long to find it. It's actually saved like 2 seconds. This game is getting to the point where it's...
Yeah, I really love that strat. It looks so cool to watch.
And this is probably the worst level in the game, because it's basically just 1 minute and 15 seconds of just straight downwards boosting, and the turns you have to make are pretty tight, and the camera is not very easy to work with. And with the way some of the geometry in the stage is, it's super easy to pull the slightest wrong angle and just have Pac-Man flying to his oblivion.
This level's super fun to IL though, because you just shake the Wii remote constantly and just keep moving. And then if you die, you just start over and do it again. It's really fun to do.
If you die in this level on world record base, your run is basically if you die in this level on world record base, your run is basically over because checkpoints are super sparse.
Yeah, you don't need dots for this level either. There's no gates in this level. It's just a lot of movement.
That's the last checkpoint of the level though, and there's still like 25 level left. So if I die, that's bad. So, do either of you want to go into the tech that's used a lot in the next level while we're waiting for this to finish up?
Sure, I'll go into it. Yeah. So, it's possible to actually boost on lava. So, if you boost the same frame that you touch lava, normally, if you don't, you'll be propelled upward and nothing really impressive will happen. But if you do it right, you'll actually boost on the lava, and you can damage boost past a lot of the intended gameplay and skip sections of gameplay that you're supposed to complete.
You can also do it on a normal bounce pads because lava is essentially just a bounce pad that. And yes, this is the best strategy I've come up with.
So it's pretty difficult to do that though, because obviously to boost you have to shake the Wii remote, and so shaking the Wii remote to time it in a frame perfect manner is awesome. So
yeah. Alright, so as you can see, I failed it twice there, but
yeah,
I got it there. And now we can do the same thing on lava. Or not.
There we go.
And health management is kind of level. So I'm not doing that, so.
And I think I was the one who found you.
Yeah, you discovered the initial bounce boosting, and then I furthered on it with the lava boosting.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really bad.
Yeah, I think I found it just by shaking the Wii remote like crazy, like an idiot, and then I got a boost on the pad. I was like, oh wow, this could be cool. And,
I think this is like 2 cycles behind the optimal cycle, but I have good health, so I can put this my lava boosts. If you don't get a lava boost here, yeah. If you don't get a lava boost there, you're dead if you have free health. You can make it if you have free. There we go. It can be really, again, it's really finicky. And that's another easy late game run.
Yeah, this is another reason that having all the extra health to start the game is super nice. I think you normally start with 3 or 4, I forget.
Yeah,
and
you
now
start
you
with 3.
Start with 3.
And now you have 7, right? So it makes stuff like that much more bearable.
So this level is kind of RNG dependent, but we can mitigate most of it. And shouts to Elo for that strat. That actually has 2 advantages. 1, it helps me get to the second phase quicker, and 2, this platform won't be fully stabilized by the time the third phase starts, so it's much easier to get these last 3 power buds. That was basically. And now it's time for World 5. This is exclusive to the Wii version of the game, and it is also the most broken world in the game.
Skips galore. This is the fun part of the game.
Yeah, this level is the shortest level in the game in task, but unfortunately that's currently not gameplay viable. You can boost from here straight to the goal platform as normal pack, but there's so many things that make it so complicated, so what I'm going to do instead is go through this first gate, which you can't skip, and then grab light pack and use that to do a different setup to skip. This is still the biggest skip in the game, and it saves 50 seconds. So, Elo, you want to kind of go into the whole instances of, like, falling? Because the next 2 levels are going to be, like, quick.
Oh, right. Honestly, I don't actually know exactly what causes the falling, but basically the game checks if you progress a certain amount through the level, and if it sees, oh, hey, you progressed too far, it will kill you, regardless of how high you actually are related to things. So it's possible to die, like, right next to the ground. In certain scenarios, it's really stupid.
And I just skipped the gate there by doing a glitchy ledge bounce, and then there's this level.
Yes, this level's really easy.
Yeah, 5-3 is fun.
And I almost died. All right, so this level has a gate skip, but I am not going to go for it for marathon safety because it only saves like 10 seconds. And if you fail it, it loses way more time than the skip actually saves. And it's also extremely difficult to do, so I will try, if time permits after the run, I will try and jump. It's a huge late game run ender, especially without nervous. But yeah, basically what you would do here is you would skip having to go out of your way to get all those pack dots and then boost from here to these elevators behind the game. And again, the only time save comes from not having to go out of your way. There's still a bunch of really cool things in this level. There is another skip in this level that's way more worth it. And I will show off. And I don't timer. So here's the big skip for this light pack and this. That skips like the level. Now it's time for the final boss. This first phase, I integrated a lot of boosting into this fight recently, and it's pretty complicated. And this takes a lot of practice. This took a lot of practice and grinding now, but it saves a few seconds, of course.
So there's two parts to this boss. This first part is on these bigger gear platforms, and then he'll like get angry and run away, and you'll follow him, and then it'll be another fight on like one big platform with a couple smaller platforms off to the side.
All right, so Elon, do you want to kind of go into the big thing that's a part of this second phase?
Sure. So the big thing that's a part of the second phase is that there will occasionally be ghosts and UFOs that will spawn on the pad. And so Cyber Viper T will intentionally be dodging those for something that will come up very shortly.
Yeah,
yes.
You can eat the power pellets from some of these ghosts have power pellets on them, as you can see. You can eat them by boosting into them, and as Bulbous is spawning in, they will still do damage to him. So if you get all 3 of them before Bulbous is finished spawning in, it will actually cancel that. So time is coming up really shortly because this third fight is going to go by real. Just boom, 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 and time. All right, so my timer says 23:45, good number. That's not terrible for a reset list considering all that happened. And world record is a 22:22, just for comparison's sake. This game is getting to the point of a pretty good optimization. So I'd say the next minute barrier might be approachable soon. But, I don't know. So yeah, that's Pac-Man World Remix. Actually, if time permits, is it okay if I give a 5-4 gate skip a couple of times before I give some closing statements?
Yeah, if you want to show it off real quick.
Okay, so this is the strat this is the strat that's required for world record, basically, and you have to go for this at the end of the run, and it's incredibly difficult, and I'm probably going to get it first. So this movement is really complicated. You need cycles to be perfect here in order for this skip. I was too far to the right there. So you kind of see what I'm trying to do. This is another area where there's a bunch of invisible walls, and the collision there is just really, really jank in general. You want to try to get a decent amount of air from that, and if you don't get it, if you boost too far to the left if you're too far to the left, you'll bonk off the gate. Too far to the right, you won't get air, and if you do another run cycle. That was again too far to the right. I'll give it 1. Okay. Yeah. I'll give this third time. But while we're closing up here, if you want to learn this game, I have a full tutorial on my YouTube channel that is still relevant, even though it was from like 2018. You can use that. I will also personally teach you everything you know about the game. There we go. So that's 5-4 gates. Yeah. That's what you have to do at the end of runs, and I would pretty much have had to reset 20 minutes in.
Wow.
Yeah.
My one condition for teaching you everything about this game is you must finish a run and get a time on the league. There are currently 2 other people who have run any %. And Joe hasn't touched the game in 2 years, so that goes to show.
Well, this was a really cool game to watch, and I think this was a good one for us to wrap up on. I think we saw a lot of variety for the Pac-Man games that were showed off tonight. I think this is a lot of fun to actually see. So thanks to everyone who played the games and did the commentary. It was a ton of fun. Thank you so much to everyone. This was our 40th anniversary Pac-Man show. We had Pac-Man World, Pac-Man World 2, Pac-Man World Rally, Pac-Man Arrangement, and then Pac-and-Roll Remix. We had a great cross-section. Thanks to all of you for being here. Thank you for all of the support of this show and for supporting Hotfix in general. We really appreciate it. We're going to play a few ads and then stick around because we're going to be rating someone right afterward. Thank you all for being here. It was a ton of fun.